What? We have an echo. There we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. What? We have an echo. There we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Case by Case. Can you hear me okay?
Good evening.
Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
I need to know if everybody else can hear me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Deb said yes.
Okay, sorry. My technology skills are still lacking. Sorry. But good evening, everybody. Case by case. We have a lot to go over tonight. We're going to do a extensive Q&A on the case based on the fact that all of the interrogation videos have come out. And of course, I know all of you are here because dun, 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 you want to learn about the author of the cryptic note. Well, yes, it's a she is here with us tonight. She's backstage. I'm going to lay down a couple ground rules before we go any further. Number one, please respect her. Two, she's willing to answer questions, but please keep them respectful. And if you understand where I'm coming from in a polarized case like this, that's attached to Delphi, you'll understand if there's a question or something that you ask where she doesn't feel comfortable answering and she says she doesn't want to answer, I'm going to put the brakes on right there. I'm so grateful that she's here. I was very lucky, thanks to my little Indiana investigator who works behind the scenes for me. I was able to come in contact with her. I've known about her for quite a while, but I wasn't willing to put her name or anything out there until I was able to communicate with her because I didn't want her to be bombarded. She has a family and her life is like everybody else's life. It should be respected and protected. So, but she's willing to come on tonight and explain to you where this note came about, why it came about, and answer your questions in regards to the note. She does not know anything about Delphi. The note doesn't have anything to do with Delphi. Sorry to bust a bunch of people's bubbles, but it doesn't. But furthermore, this is just one more notch on the list to check off that Ashley was telling the truth all along. So all of the speculation, all of the rumors, all of the conspiracy theories that Ashley knew something and this note meant something was not true. And she's here. She's going to discuss it, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. And I'm sure she's nervous. And I even gave her the choice of showing her face or not showing her face. And she said she was more than willing to show her face because she felt like if she didn't, it wouldn't be true. So please be respectful. And 4 years in the making of something that everybody's been wondering and wanting to know. She's here. So before I bring her on, I'm going to just address the chat really fast and say hello. Susanna Lucy. How are you? Jennifer. Ivy Push. Girl. Ivy, I have to get with you. Big time.
She is on our Facebook page.
I know, but I don't see her. I don't know if she has
I don't
the
know
same name.
what her name is. I don't recall or
Yeah, Ivy, I need to get with you. Yes, it's 7 p.m. Central Time. Jennifer says, hello. Yeah, hi, Deb from True Crime Notebook. Isabella Katina and Pink Pinky Wave. That must be an emoji. Why am I not seeing these emojis? I need help, guys. All of these things that go along with YouTube and the
You
emojis.
have to be on YouTube in order to see the emojis.
I am on YouTube.
No, if you don't have your StreamYard open.
Oh, I am in
You have to have
StreamYard.
Yeah, but you have to have the YouTube page, just the YouTube app open, and you could see the emojis that way.
Well, I'm just happy to be here and be able to put all this together. Sorry. I Yeah, it's a little bit. I'll get it. I'll get it one
See,
day, and
you're
when I
more
get it,
detailed, smart with the technology, where I'm just like the dummy smart with like the
I'm
just
not.
the
I'm not
easy
smart
stuff.
at all. Well, I used to be, but technology has changed since I used to be a guru, and everybody's with the hand peeking, waving pinky thing that comes up. So anyway, hi Deb. Who else is here? Graham Tam.
KO, that's what I do is use my phone to look at the chat on YouTube. That's how I know it.
Well, I look. Hello. I I always forget to do that. So Susanna Lucy, yes. Jennifer says it won't work for me. Good to see you here, Deb. Yes. Hi, Tanya. So, can I just get, I mean, hey, Frank. Um, yeah, KO. I'm going to use my phone, but I also don't want to look down the whole entire time. But can I say a couple things just being heartfelt? And I appreciate all of you guys being here and taking note. But also, I have to say that it's I've been working on this case for a year, and I'm not okay, I'm a liar. I'm technically stupid, but otherwise, I'm not. I have done a lot of different things in my life. I've worked for the police department. I went to school to be a paralegal. I ran a business, a very big business that I chose to walk away from. That's a whole nother story. But I just want everyone here to know that I'm not here for clicks and likes, obviously, because I don't even know how to get them. I'm here because I came across something that I thought was weird, didn't make sense. I've always loved true crime. I've always loved um, the underdog, so to speak. I'm a major supporter of an underdog. I don't care what theory it's about, whether it's a movie or in sports or true crime. It doesn't matter. I've always been a supporter of an underdog. That's how I got involved in this. And coming on here tonight and seeing some of the people that I'm seeing in my chat who have never bothered to give me the time of day, at least in the chat. You might have been watching from afar. I can see the numbers, but you've never commented. Um, all I'm going to say is I'm glad you're here, and I hope that this tonight proves to you that what I have been working on and the stuff that I have been presenting to you is factual. And I know it's very hard to digest a theory or memories or a pre-programmed idea of what you guys thought really happened or the perception of what someone is. That's hard to overcome when someone is expecting you to do a whole entire right hook and change direction. I get it. And that's why I'm patient. That's why I'm understanding. And for those of you who are listening, and this includes people who watch on the replay, I feel like I don't get a lot of people who come in here boldly enough in the chat when I'm live to debate. I would love an honest, real debate. I don't like being disrespected. I don't like being come at out of left wing like I don't know what I'm talking about. when I feel like I have put months in front of your face of real evidence, not my thoughts, my opinion, my perspective. I have provided you documentation. I've provided you court documentation, medical records, audio tapes, audio recordings, interviews. Um, so I don't feel like I'm coming at you with a bunch of BS and say, "Hey, this is what I think, and I think you should agree with me." That's not what I'm doing here. Um, so with that being said, I'm just saying from here forward, I knew coming into the public to represent Ashley, I was going to get a lot of backlash. I knew that right off the rip. I accepted it. I will not accept being personally disrespected. So if you sit here and you watch, and then you wait until the live is over, and then you come into the videos and you comment being disrespectful, number one, I will respond. Number two, if you take it too far, you will be gone. That is not because I don't want to go into debate with you. It is a matter of this is a real case. This is someone's real life. This is a lot of people's real lives. And for a lot of people watching, a lot of you felt that this case, especially Garrett Kurtz, had something directly to do with the murders of Abby and Libby. And I'm not saying that he didn't have knowledge. I'm not saying he doesn't know anything. All I'm saying is that Ashley didn't. And to prove this in this downtime before she was able to go through her post conviction process and obtain a new attorney, this was the prime time for me to take this public. And if you're here, clearly you're paying attention, and I appreciate it and I thank you for it. And just know that I'm a good person. And just because you don't agree with my opinion, or you, for whatever reason, and I know that you think that you know the evidence in this case and that Ashley is guilty, I get it. I absolutely get it. But tonight, and me bringing forth this person who was so great, like she knew about this a long time ago, but she didn't follow this case to know how in depth you guys took this. So I'm so grateful that she's here and she's willing to talk with us and answer your questions. So please be respectful. And for me, this is the milestone and putting a notch in the belt for Ashley that she has said for 4 years. She didn't write it. She doesn't know anything about it, and no one believed her. And this right here is telling you guys she was telling the truth. Among other things, she was telling the truth. So, Katie, are you ready? Yeah, I see you. All right, guys. I'm going to bring her on. She's going to, well, I'll tell her she's never done this before, so she's very nervous. So please be respectful. And she has shared with me some of her tattoos, some of her doodles. So here we are.
Hello,
Hey,
everybody. My name is Kyra Dawn, hence where the KD comes from. And the reason why, the Kai fucking pie is because my name is Kyra, and instead of just putting KI, I always put the E after it to make sure that everybody knew it was Kai and not Kira. But like she said, all of those things were just doodles. There was no cryptic message or any hidden meaning behind it. I am willing to answer any questions that you may have with reasonable with a reasonable stopping point. I don't know. Like she said, I've never done this before. I am pretty nervous. I just wanted to make sure that the word got out that this is just a doodle. And the length that people have gone to say some of the things that they have about this simple doodle is just ridiculous. And I know she has some photos that she is going to show you guys, but a lot of the doodles on there are just my tattoos that I doodled myself on there. I
so
don't know
well,
too much what to say.
that's okay. So Kyra, so let's talk about because I'm sure the questions are all going to start rolling in, but so Jason Paladino shared this on his Facebook page. Was
Right.
this was this on a piece of paper or on like a whiteboard? Like
Yeah,
did
this is on just a regular piece of paper. I can remember I was hanging out at his dad's house with him around that time, maybe even a little romantic, if you will. I've known Jason my whole life. He was a friend of my brother's growing up. Our families had a lot of functions together. We knew each other very well. And when I started using, that's one of the places where I started going, is I started using with um, some familiar faces. So Jason, um, and that's just one of the things that I like to do when I personally use, is I like to sit down and I got into my doodles for hours,
mm-hmm.
whatever
Let me
came to mind.
pull some of that up. There she is, her doodles.
Yeah,
And
I still doodle to this day.
and what's so funny, yeah, I was gonna say because um on your public page, let's like a profile picture of yours is a doodle.
Well, the doodle that is on my cover photo is actually not my doodle. It's a doodle that I found that I really liked. The can't can one
Yes,
where Jesus takes the cross and walks
the
off. I
cross
love
and the
that one.
call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my nickname. I have it on my breast. That's why it's just a little picture. But Kai
The
is me. I got
K-I-E.
I got that tattoo when I was 18 years old. I said I just want it to say KIE and you do the rest. So that's what it came up to be. Yeah, and some of my stuff is a little bit depressing. Some of it's happy. I just doodle whatever comes to mind at the moment.
Yeah. So we should like that's a little bit.
But like as for the J and the P and Jason Paladino, like I know that they said that that was a bridge and stuff, but if you do look in my other doodles, it's just me coloring in and adding more to the letters instead of them just being plain letters. Like it's just drawings. I really don't understand how they depicted it as far as they did. It's just
So
they really were trying.
so KD is the bomb. Were you talking about
I'm
yourself or
KD, and yeah, I is the bomb is I'm pretty cool. I thought of myself as
okay.
very cool. I even have a KD tattoo because that's what my sister calls me, but you can't see it, so I didn't send the picture. It is
Mm-hmm.
pink, so it is the lightest. You really can't see it. I just happen to know it's there. But
Gotcha.
I'm Kyra Dawn. That's where the KD comes from.
Wow. Well, it kind of like puts everything in the note into perspective and
Right.
um all of the doodles and I'm gonna go to the chat because I think that we might
Okay.
have some questions. Hey Sharon, let me see. All right, guys, if you have any questions for her,
It definitely did go far and wild.
it
That is for
did.
sure.
So I remember when I first reached out to you, um, you had said that I think you said your aunt had
My
sent
Aunt
you a
Dawn
link.
sent me it. Yep.
Okay, she
And
sent
she
it to
lives all
you
the way
for
in Tennessee. She lives all the way in Tennessee, and she sent me the link because she's seen it there.
so when
So
you
it tells
got
you
it
that
and
stuff travels fast.
you watched it, what did you think? When you started seeing that your doodle turned into this um like criminal thing, what did you think?
Well, at first, my family and I definitely laughed about it because it's like, I've been an artist, musician, jack of all trades my whole life. So doodling is just one of the many things that I did. And my Aunt Dawn seen it and she was like, this kind of looks like something that, Kyra would do. And my mom showed it to me and I was like, actually, that is exactly my photo. Like I drew that over at Jason's house and everything. And, my family knows Jason and them. And it was crazy. We all had a really good laugh about it. But also at the same time, it's like, I wanted to come forward and say something and say that that's my doodle. And, I didn't know where it was going to lead. I really wish that I would have got out of my comfort zone and been able to say something at the time that I got it, but I don't know.
So have you followed it since then? Like, since that first time that your aunt sent you anything, did you follow it to see, like, kind of
I
how
did
big
try
it got?
I did try and look up, Katie is the bomb to see if there was any more like messages or anything on YouTube that had the same that was talking about the thing. But I think there was only like 2 videos at the time. So I didn't really follow into it very hard.
Okay. Did you ever reach out to anybody to say, like, because I know I think that I mean, there was a lot of YouTube videos, but it was all titled different. And that
Right. And
was
I did
back
try and
when.
look because I did try and comment on one of the videos. I don't know if I ever accident or actually submitted it, but I did go back through and I couldn't find any of them that had one of my comments on it or anything, but I really wish that I had.
I mean, and that's, I mean, no one would ever, I mean, I don't think if I was at a friend's house and I drew a stupid drawing, would ever
Right.
expect, like, and then I know I asked you um earlier today, like, can you think about when you drew it, what all of the little pieces of the puzzle meant, like, when you were just doodling and you really couldn't, you're like, "Oh my god, I don't remember it."
I can tell you that "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked," that's just a song that I love. Everybody knows that song. And then the ha ha ha's right below it. It's just like the Joker ha ha ha's, how they're written the different ways. I was just doodling things that came to my mind at the time, and you can only imagine what's
Who
coming to my mind when I'm
who sings
using.
who sings "No Rest for the Wicked"? Because I don't know. Who is it?
Really? You don't know that song? I couldn't tell you the
I feel like I know the melody, but I don't know who the artist is.
I think it's Caged Elephant.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense though, because when I read that, I was like, "Ooh, damn, ain't no rest for the wicked." So, um, so we're gonna go through and we're gonna go through the chat. Um, okay, we're gonna start off with Travis, who he's an attorney from Texas, and he has worked with me on Ashley's case as far as obtaining documents, and we've compiled a Dropbox together. Um, he
Okay.
wants to know. Well, actually, I'm going to back up to Isabella. Isabella wants to know if you know Garrett Kurtz. And
I
I
do
know
not.
that I've asked you all of these things, but I'm going to let you answer for yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
So far in all the videos that I've seen, the only people that I do know is Jason Paladino. Um, I'd probably say that I knew him better than anybody. And the only other person that I do know is Talitha Beckley, but I only hung out with her for probably a couple of weeks while we were using before I moved on to the next place. Because when I was using, I was moving from house to house. Whatever got me my next fix, honestly. Um,
okay.
as as for Jason Palladino, I don't necessarily know his story, and I don't really understand how the doodles relate to the case either. It just so happened to be that when I did do that doodle and left it at his house, he took a picture of it and posted it on his Facebook.
Okay. So, Travis says, so what's Jason's story? Can someone fill me in on how the doodles relate to the case? Um, well, I'll answer, and I don't think that do you understand that question?
How the doodles relate to the case or what Jason's story is, because I don't know how I can tell you what people have posted on YouTube and stuff about how the doodles relate to the case and how they've depicted it into um, different cryptic messages, but that's not at all what it is at all.
And
It's not.
so, and then Jason's story. Can you without, I mean, I know that we talked about this earlier and I said that you didn't have to answer anything that you didn't want to. and I know that your family is close with Jason's family, so I don't
Well,
expect
they
you.
were. It's kind of, we all grew up and fell apart a little bit, you know. Um, I met Jason when I was little. He was one of my brother's best friends. Jason and his brother CJ both were in our lives quite a bit. We went over and hung out. My brother even lived next door to Jason's brother at one point in time. We lived down at Oakdale.
So
And
really quick, who do you consider Jason's brother to be? Who is that?
uh, CJ Paladino.
Is
There's
that
CJ. CJ is his actual brother. Curtis is his dad, and Mark Paladino is his uncle.
okay? So even when you look on ancestry.com, it has CJ, which is who I
That's,
would consider like the youngest CJ or the younger
yep, that's his
Curtis.
brother.
That's his
Yes,
brother, not
yes.
not his cousin.
No, that's his brother.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. That clears up a lot of things. So,
Absolutely.
okay. So moving on, we're going to go to who is this? Criminality said, did it have any meaning at the time? So I guess what she's asking is if at the time when you wrote the note, I know earlier you described it to me, it was kind of described it as like a love note or like I was here
Well,
and you go ahead.
I was talking more of the love note being one of the ones that I seen on YouTube. They were kind of comparing my doodle versus some love note that was written that I have no clue about. Um, as for being, did it have any meaning at the time? It has the same meaning today that it did then. It was just a simple doodle. None of it had any hidden messages, hidden cryptic meanings, or anything like that. It is purely just a doodle.
And was Jason when you wrote it, I mean, because um
Jason and
J-
I have had an relationship in the past, and when I was using at that time, it could have been an intimacy thing where I was just drawing his name lovey-dovey like. You know, I did have feelings for him at the time. I'd known him my whole life, and as I got older, I got a little bit more curious about older men, and he happened to be one that was always there. And um, I think I was just doodling his name because I really liked him.
so
But
was it did so was like when you okay, just to clarify,
okay,
because there's not there's Jason doesn't post a lot on any of his Facebooks. He has quite a few, and
right.
in the past couple of years, he's never posted anything. So
Well,
he
in the
put
past 4 years, I haven't had any. I have had one form of contact with Jason. He tried to send me a friend request a few months ago, and I can tell you exactly what I said, and I can even send it to you.
a few months ago.
Well, I think it was a few. Hold on. It was on September 25th that I messaged him because he sent me a friend request. And I said, my husband, kids, and I go to Faith Covenant Fellowship here in Monticello. If you would ever like to attend or need prayed for, I hope you're doing so well, Jason. Remember that the Lord sees you. You are forgiven of your sins so long as you heartfeltedly ask him. And on October 13th, he sent me a thumbs up. I just wanted to make sure that he was doing all right. And you guys still hear me okay? I went off and it
Yeah,
kind of,
no, we can hear
okay.
you. No, yeah, we
But
can
I
hear
just wanted
you.
to make sure that he was doing okay because he obviously sent me a friend request for a reason. I wanted to let him know that I had a family and whatnot, so he wasn't trying to nudge his way back into my life or anything. Just letting him know that, I am here for you as a Christian friend if you need one.
Well, that's I mean that's amazing. And like I told you earlier, like the way that you've changed your life around is incredible. And
It's
um
been just one day at a time.
well, the one thing that I think that highlights this being posted on his page was that he didn't post a lot of things. So I think that a lot of people, and it's very easily to do, like especially with the Delphi case, when at that point in time there wasn't a lot of information being leaked out to the public. So everybody was kind of grasping at little things that were being revealed. And I feel like, Jason was and still is, CJ still is a huge part of um, being a part of a possible connection to the Delphi case. So when your doodle was posted, um, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, this is significant," because he
Right.
never posts anything. So I think that when criminality asked, "Did it have any meaning at the time?" I think that for a lot of people, they thought that, "Holy shit, this means something." And you're saying that. So, was it written on a piece of paper? Was it on a dry erase board?
Yeah, it
Were
was
you
just
did
on a
you
piece
not
of paper, and I couldn't tell you exactly when. If I were to be able to look on my Instagram, Jason and we did have a relationship when I was younger. I was probably 16 or 17 at the time, honestly. Um, but we did have a relationship, and I know he probably didn't post a whole bunch, but I did back when we were in a relationship. I've got photos of, messages between me and him, and I've got a photo of his daughter on her birthday and stuff on our Facebooks.
Oh, speaking of, really quick, can I ask you, you're talking about Jocelyn, right? Who's her mother?
I
Just
don't necessarily want to, just for the sake of Jocelyn, I don't want to get into all of that information.
okay, I respect that. But
I
yeah,
mean,
he seemed
I still know her today, and I know that side of the family, and I can only imagine what they're going through right now.
okay. I respect that. So, moving on. So, it's a criming shame. What's up, Sonny? Yeah, I would have really loved it if you would have as well. I'm not sure what she means
I don't
about
remember what
that.
I said. Oh, if I would have said something, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, I think that yeah, I think that's a bigger question because our validity of, you know, everyone and I totally understand, there are people who are obsessed with the Delphi case and I get it. It's a horror. I mean, it is what it is. People who follow true crime and people who are into justice for victims take it very and they should, because
Right.
it helps bring accountability for, especially 2 little girls in a situation like this where there's so many unanswered questions. I think that that's probably the biggest question that we're gonna come across is, um, when you've seen it, um have you followed the case at all? When you've seen it and you've seen that it was being connected to the Delphi case, did you understand the importance of it or no at all?
Honestly, when I seen my doodle, I was a little bit freaked out. It's like, although it was funny, it was a little nerve wracking. Like, why are people taking this to a whole different level than what it actually is? Um, I'd been going in and out of addictions my entire life, and I finally got sober. I finally got a family, finally settled down, and then it felt like everything at that point in time, it felt like, you know, all that stuff was just resurfacing, my past.
Mhm.
And I didn't really, I remember thinking about wanting to comment. I don't know if I ever did or not because I couldn't find it. I was trying to look for it earlier, but I think really I just wanted to move on from everything in my past. Nobody in my past tried to check up on me when I got sober or anything or tried to be my friend anymore. And I had to completely change my life. So I think
For the
maybe I
bet
was just trying to let it go.
for the better.
Right.
So just you sitting on here tonight, how does your husband feel? Is he like, "Go get
He's
him," or
kind
is
of
he
just
like
like, what is going on, basically? Like it's crazy, you know? Like everybody's
Yeah.
freaking out over some doodle that you did years ago and trying to break it down to way more than it's supposed to be.
Oh. Well, I mean, I thank you again. I really thank you for being bold enough to come out and say, "Hey, I own it." Um,
He
and
doesn't really know any of my relationship that I've had with the Paladinos or anything. We haven't, you know, he knows about my addictions and whatnot, but we've never really gone into full extent on things that have happened in my addictions. So,
and that's understandable. But yeah, that's why I reached out because I mean, like a week ago, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have this information. It sounds pretty credible." And I just was I didn't wanna be the norm. I didn't wanna put your name or anything out there like that without your permission or even asking to make sure that the information that I had was right. So that's why I reached out. And
right.
again, I'm so grateful that you said, "Yeah, that's me." I was I really shit my pants when you 100% confirmed, "Yeah, that's me." I was like, "Wow." So,
So there's a person with a comment on here that says, "Snarky Sass Angel. It's strange that she can't explain anything about the doodles or their meaning." And I can explain about the doodles and their meaning. I think about 3 or 4 of the doodles that are actually on that page are my tattoos. And Amy does have some um, actual pictures that we could show you guys that they do match the doodles, and all it was doodles. Like we said, "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked" is a song. The ha 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 right below that, I was thinking of the Joker and his ha ha's, and I was just doodling it. As for the Kai fucking pie, my nickname is Kai. I made it into Kai Pie, and we made it funny, so it's Kai Pie 5000. It kind of sounds like a vacuum cleaner, and that's actually my email, and it has been for years now. KD is the bomb is actually me. I'm KD, Kyra Dawn, and I was way younger when I made this doodle. I thought I was the bomb. I thought I was pretty cool. It's simple. I was probably 17, 18 when I made these doodles, maybe. It's simple doodles. Also, I was using when I was making all these doodles and stuff, but there's no hidden meaning to any of them. They are all something that I felt in my life at that time, but there's no harm in any of my doodles. There's no hidden meaning behind any of my doodles. They are simply just doodles that I drew on paper.
so the part of I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. And Amber, if you can continue to go through the chat and help her answer some of these questions, I'm gonna
Have
pull
you
up
been
the note.
questioned by law enforcement at all?
No, I haven't.
That was like 3 people asked that one.
I'm trying to look through all the comments.
So it's a criming shame says, so
Oh,
obviously the
hold
note,
on. My phone's on
so
5%.
obviously the note, oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
So
Okay.
obviously the note was a friend of mine that found that and brought it to me. And of course, it just so happened to be that the Garrett Kurt's best friends, or one of them, was Keegan Dunker. Do you know Keegan Dunker?
No, I do not.
Do you know Garrett Kurtz?
I do not.
Do you know do you know Nicole
I
Bowen?
do not.
And her maiden name was Nicole Thomas.
No.
So out of what about I'm sorry to question you like this, but
No, you're
what
fine.
about so you said that you knew, oh, obviously you know Jason and you knew
Right.
Talitha.
Yes.
Do you know Jasmine Parker or Chris Mathis?
I don't know either of those names either.
Okay. So for people who are watching who might want to know, um, what do you know about Talitha, or what are you willing to discuss about Talitha?
I really don't know anything about Talitha. Like I said, she was there for a couple of weeks at the house that I was staying. When I was staying at Mark Paladino's house, I was using there, but there was there was tons of people in and out of there, and any of the names that you could have named could have been in and out of there, but they didn't stay or leave a memory in my head of them or anything. But Talitha, I really don't know anything about. She just happened to be staying there when I was staying there.
And do you remember around the time of when that was, and where was it when you say staying there? Are you,
I'm going to have to make a rough estimate. It was either sometime in 2017 or 2018, because 2014 is when I started using.
mhm.
I ran away a couple times that year. 2015, I think I tried to get sober for a little bit that year. 2016, I was living with my dad. So I think 2017 or 2018 is probably around the time that I would have started staying over in that area.
Is that okay? Is that
And
the
I could
Hodges
probably
Drive?
even
I could tell
you,
Hodges Drive?
I don't know if it's Hodges Drive. I can tell you it's off of 600
That's
down
Hodges
past.
Drive.
Is it? Okay, then yeah.
Yeah. The trailer that, like, so you're coming down Hodges Drive, and if you're coming out from the main road, from, like, if you're coming through Delphi and you come down 600 and
Yep.
you come to Hodges Drive and you turn right, and you immediately turn right, and the trailers, he had two. There was one in the
Yes.
front, one in the back. They're on the right-hand side.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did you know Terry Smothers by any chance? Older
I
man?
do know of not an older man. I know somebody around my age named Terry Smothers, maybe his son.
That's his son. Yes, his son has his name. But you
Well,
don't know his dad?
I know the younger one because I went to school with him.
Oh, wow.
What school did you go to?
I went to Twin Lakes.
Okay. Oh, well, behind the scenes, we'll have to talk about that, and if you want to. But Terry
Yeah, we can
Smothers,
definitely do that.
Yeah, I know that Terry Smothers does have a son, and his name is Terry as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
know I was with him in 3rd grade specifically.
okay. Kyra, will you adjust your phone? Because your mic is
Hold on, let me grab an extension cord real quick, okay?
okay. So we have Sharon. Sharon says, "Hi, Sunny." Hi, Travis. Sharon says, "Hi, Travis." Hey, Amy. Said she was going to go over this, and I'm glad as well it's going to get put to rest. I wish it would have been sooner, however. You know what? Me too. Um, and literally just so, and I'm gonna direct this to Sunny, because I feel like over the last couple of weeks with Sunny, her and I have communicated, and this just I had information about this over the last couple of weeks, but like I said, I wasn't willing to put someone in a position like her. She's moved on with her life. She has a family, she's married. So I felt responsible enough that I had to reach out to her personally and ask her for permission, number one, to discuss it. And then the conversation went a little bit further. And like all of you, um, or most of you, I'm not lucky. I'm not at home all day. I work a whole nother job, and outside of that job, I've been doing this 24/7. And so when today she said that she would agree to come on, like from the time that I talked to her, because I'm so ridiculously technically challenged, it took me, I had to go to the grocery store. We had to drop off a rental car because my hubby was in an accident. His car was totaled. So life happens. And I was trying to communicate with her and get the freaking thumbnail done for this all at the same time. And yes, I still have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So otherwise, I would have reached out to a couple of you who I feel obligated to reach out to since we share information, but it was just one of those things. I honestly did not expect her to be gracious enough to come on. And I even gave her the option of showing her face and or not. I said, "You don't have to show your face." And she was like, "No, I'll show my face because I feel like if I don't, then it's not real." And I really appreciated that. So again, I can't thank you enough. And I'm sure there's a million people in the chat who can't thank you enough just because this thing kind of took on a life of its own. And this case is dear. The Delphi case is dear to a lot of people's hearts, um, as it is to mine. And however, I don't feel like the Delphi case needs me to cover it because there's so many people who do such a good job. Um, this tiny segment of Delphi that belongs to Ashley Garth is something that I've latched onto, and it took me almost a year before I came public with it. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to cave in to all the mean comments that I get. I expected it, but you just kind of really have answered a lot of questions for a lot of people and put a huge portion of this speculation theory to rest. So again, I can't thank you enough. And I'm sure I speak
Absolutely.
for a lot of people in the chat that they can't thank you enough. Jennifer says, "I'm loving this." Dennis Sexton, that is an absolute lie. Did I miss something? Dennis Sexton. What did he say? Someone with the same initials lost their job because of the accusations from this note. Denise. I'm sorry, not Dennis. Denise. Someone with the same initials lost their job because of the accusations from this note. Just saying. Um, okay, so Denise, that's harsh if that is true. Can you elaborate? And I find it really hard to believe, like Sunny says, that that's true. So, if you have proof, please post it or give the storyline behind it so we can kind of look into it because that's not right. This is all speculation, and I can't imagine that someone would lose their job over something like this. Denise Sexton says, "You sure? Why would you say that?" Denise, Denise, I'm gonna give you the platform right now to come on and speak your truth and give us truth as to what you're talking about and who lost their job. Um, oh, okay, so this has to be a real thing because Deb says, "Denise, that's not true. He lost his job because of theft." Okay, there's a whole argument going on. Okay, so here, you don't know Keegan Dunker?
No,
Never heard of him.
no.
Okay,
Who's LE?
law enforcement.
Oh, duh. No, law enforcement never reached out to me to ask me about anything. If I never came forward, they had no clue that it was me. You know what I mean? I'd be more than willing to talk to any law enforcement about the note and let them know that it was also just a doodle.
Okay. So, it's a criming shame who has she's done a lot of research into the case. So she's asking about the title of the song. It ain't no rest for the wicked. She says it also happened to be Keegan Klein. Are you familiar with Keegan Klein in the
No,
Delphi case?
no.
Okay. So, well, Keegan Klein, his roommate's Facebook's, I'm assuming his roommate's Facebook's name was also No Rest for the Wicked.
And what I would say about that is probably is just as innocent as my doodle, or maybe not, but my doodle is innocent. Ain't no rest for the wicked is just a song, and I'm sure that lots of other peoples do know about the song as well.
And who did you say was who'd you say the
I'm
artist
going
was?
to I'm gonna assume the caged elephant. I'm not
Okay,
100% on that, but I'm almost positive.
I'm gonna look it up, and I might have to make it my theme song
I love this
on my
song.
channel.
It's a good song.
Okay, Mama Libra Scale says, "Why is your guest? I miss it being late
I
coming
think
in.
she meant who is your guest.
Who is my guest?" Go ahead one more time because we're like an hour in and we have a lot of new people coming in. So if you want to reintroduce yourself and tell them why you're here, that would be wonderful. Because I don't want to speak for you at all. I want you to have your own voice, and I want you to come on here and you. I think it's better coming from you than me.
Absolutely. My name is Kyra Dawn. That's my first and my middle name. We're talking about the cryptic note that isn't so cryptic after all. It just so happens to be a doodle that I made a few years back, more than 5, and it is unraveling into a lot more than it's supposed to be. So we're just here trying to get the word out that it is nothing more than an innocent doodle. That's why you see Katie is the bomb. That's me. I'm Katie, and I think I'm pretty cool. I'm Kai Pie. That's one of my nicknames. A lot of the doodles that are on this photo are actually my tattoos, and we have photos of those as well. I'm here for any other questions.
Can I just say, like, I know this hit you out of left field, but you're very well spoken. You really are. Like,
Thanks.
for
I'm
you to come
shaking.
on and show your for you to come on and show your face in an atmosphere like this and all these people coming at you like, "Oh my," because I told you, I warned you there's gonna be a lot of questions. But you're doing a really good job. I had to say
It's
that.
pretty nerve-wracking, but I have nothing to hide, so there's no reason.
Isabella Katrina says she knows Jason as well as she does. Where does he live? Is it at his dad's in Yeoman or Paladino compound? Okay,
Um,
yeah, that's a good. I'm Isabella. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, I wanted to ask you that too.
I
I just didn't want
personally
to.
don't I personally don't know where he lived. When I made that doodle is around the last time that I actually even hung out with him. I believe I got sober right after that. I got sober February 11th of 2019. Um, so it was probably actually a few months before I started getting sober, but the last known location was he lived at his dad's house when I was hanging out with him. I've gotten a friend request from him in the last few months. I did message him, letting him know where I went to church, and if he ever needed any prayers or anything, he could reach out. I got a thumbs up from him about a month later, but other than that, I haven't had any communication with Jason.
So when you wrote this note, you said that you were hanging out at his dad's house. His dad's house
That's
is in
where,
Yemen.
yep, that's where he was residing at the moment. But I
Okay,
couldn't tell you if he still lived there or not.
so do you have any opinion or insight into the trailers on Hodges Drive? Was that ever a residence of theirs or just property that they owned? Just
We I think Mark was living there at the time. CJ and Jason were in and out of there. A lot of people were in and out of there. I was there for maybe a maximum of about 2 weeks. I was in between the boyfriends that I had at the time, and I really had nowhere else to go. You know, I knew I could have gone to my parents, but at the time I was using and I wasn't ready to stop using. So I went to a place where I knew I could use and I could also feel safe under the comfort of knowing these people for my entire life. So I went over there and they welcomed me in. And as soon as I was ready to go, they um, let me go. You know, it sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. I wasn't held hostage or anything. I was just, I stayed there for a couple weeks. And when I was ready to go, I left and I tried to get sober again for not very long, relapsed, and then I finally ended up getting sober, and I've been sober ever since.
good for you. Good for you. And did you back then, if you can remember, back then, since you're from Monticello, right?
Yes.
So that's pretty much, I mean, that's basically like a mile drive from Delphi. When
Yeah.
the Delphi murders happened, at the time, were you ever aware that the Paladinos were implicated in that case?
I didn't know, but when I was on meth, I definitely had a feeling about it because I had heard about the Delphi murders because it was literally everywhere.
Mhm.
I definitely thought about the possibility,
And
just because
can I ask you what made you think that there was a possibility? Were there things that had ever been said or behavior or um
never anything said about the Delphi murders or anything like that. It just happens to be that they do have a very criminal background, in and out of jail, and you know, Jason's dad actually broke my brother's faceplate at one point in time. When we were living down at Oakdale, we lived right next to CJ and his grandma. We were living in a trailer right next to them, and my brother came home
can I
drunk one
ask
time.
you can I ask you, is that by the bait shop?
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
that's he lived in, I believe, CJ's old trailer at the time, and CJ was living over with his grandma.
Okay.
But yeah, Jason's dad, Curtis, actually punched my brother in the face trying to get him to come home from the bar one night and broke his entire faceplate from one punch. Like not his faceplate, but his cheek plate.
Uh-huh.
It was a crazy situation, but they've been known for fighting and
Can do you
criminal activity.
without going too far, because I don't want to put you in a bad position, but do you have any opinion on the Paladinos? I mean, outsiders looking in, look at this family and the rumors surrounding them and the implications. And I can say that some of it's implications, but a lot of it is facts. I mean, when you look at their criminal history and the things they've been involved with, um, their lifestyle may not show on the outside that they are this big, like, conglomerate, money making, drug dealing organization. But do you have an opinion about that sort of, are they really what people think of them? Do they have that means of behind the scenes? They are, I don't want to, again, I just want you to be honest, but at the same time, I want you to protect yourself. Are they
behind
are
the
they good?
scenes behind the scenes I would say that I personally know them to be loving towards me. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Like we were all family, quote unquote. um we spent a lot of time together. I never personally had any issues with them
Okay, your mic just went out. Go ahead. Pull
yeah,
closer.
the mother of my children just tried to call me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I personally know them to be loving. They have never caused me any harm, me any sort of they've never put me in any dangerous situations that I wasn't putting myself into. um I know them as regular people. I grew up with them. I i could never imagine them doing anything to harm anybody else if it wasn't necessary, unless they're being threatened. I've never seen them threaten anybody else besides when Curtis beat my brother's face.
Do you so let me ask you this. Okay, I'm going to ask you I'm going to ask you about a couple of names. I'm going to ask you about a couple of names, and
Okay.
you don't have to go into detail. Um, and what we can do is, if you're willing to go into depth, or you can go into depth on here as much as you want. Otherwise, I don't expect you to, because I don't want to put you in a
I
bad
will tell
position.
you that it's very, very quiet now. I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me?
You got
Or
extremely quiet. I can hear you a little
okay, is that better?
bit. Yeah, I can hear
Okay, so I'm gonna throw out some names, and you can elaborate on each name, or you can, if you know them, yes, and elaborate. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Okay.
Um, I know that there's a handful of people around there, especially around Hodges Drive, including there's Cottrell, Sheena Cottrell. Are you familiar with her at all?
No.
Okay. A Regina Cottrell.
I know Regina Cottrell.
Okay, she lives back behind the Paladinos, like in the trailer diagonal behind.
I'm not aware of that, but I do know. I used to use with a Regina Cottrell, but she lived here in town in Monticello.
Okay. Mary Cottrell.
Mary Cottrell, yes,
Okay. What about
because Mary Cottrell and Curtis Paladino are actually in a relationship, I believe.
yeah, they still are in a relationship.
Oh,
So what
I
about
went to NA with Mary Cottrell a few years ago. When I was doing
okay. Um so what about a Craig Renfro?
I know of the name, but I don't necessarily know him.
So his son, supposedly he's older, but his son, I don't know how old his son was, but his son died, and it was in a drug deal gone wrong. Does that ring a bell at all?
No, what's the
No.
name?
I don't know his son's name. Last name Renfro for sure, but Craig is the father, and he was in and out of that area. He was friends with a Nate Simons.
I know Nate Simons.
Okay.
I went to
What
school with Nate Simons' brother, Josh Simons.
okay. And what is your opinion of them?
I don't really have a negative or anything opinion of them. I still have Josh on Facebook. Like I said, we were in school together. We used to be really good friends when we were in school, but it kind of died off once I started using and I dropped out of school and stuff.
Okay. What about Kyle or Russell Stout?
Nope.
So Russell Stout lived in the trailer in front of Jason's on Hodges Drive. It's now
Yeah,
been
I
that
didn't really venture out too much when I was down there in Hodges Drive. I was pretty much in that trailer the entire time using.
okay. And you don't know Nicole, and you don't know Nicole Thomas.
No,
And had you ever come in contact with or heard anything about Ashley Garth?
I have never heard about Ashley Garth until I seen the video with my cryptic note on it.
Okay. Trying to think of other names. And with Talitha, um, do you know where she's from? Did you ever catch wind of where she's from?
No, the only time I ever hung out with her was when I was staying at that trailer. I mean, I've got some photos of Talitha that me and her took while we were using and stuff. We got all dolled up and then we took photos, but I never really got to actually know her or anything.
And her purpose of being there. Am I that hard to hear?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm sorry.
Oh
I'm trying to
wow.
hear you.
Okay, let me make some adjustments here.
I don't
I
know.
think
I
it
So
can hear
happened
you
like
just
right
fine.
after I got that phone call.
It has
so
to be her connection then.
it's probably my connection.
No, her connection, not yours. Because I can hear you just fine.
Okay. So Talitha being so when you said that you got all dolled up and you and her were hanging out, that was at the Hodges Drive address.
Yes. That was at Mark
So
Palladino's trailer.
so when you say Mark Palladino's, was it your
Mark Palladino
understanding
is Jason's uncle.
right? And so Mark Palladino, well, first, what did you think that Talitha's reason for being there was? Like based on your perception, was she someone's girlfriend or was she part of the family?
I
What was
feel
your
like she was kind of like the maid of the house who Also, I don't know, she sometimes went in Mark's room with him. I'm not sure of anything that actually happened while they were in Mark's room. But she cleaned the house, hung out with me, and we used together. I don't really know really much about her or any of her relationships with anybody there. Um, I didn't really. I tried to mind my own business. You know what I mean? I was just kind of there using while hanging out with so-called friends.
Okay. So, in to your knowledge, that property alone, have you ever heard of it called the compound?
No.
No. Okay. So there's two trailers that sit there, the one in the front, the one in the back.
Mhm.
And was there a distinction between the two? Like who lived where, who owned what?
Nobody lived
Or
in the one in the back. Everybody was in the one in the front. I know the one in the back was getting fixed up while I was there.
but the Paladinos owned both, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Um, I don't think anybody ever went into that other one except for somebody who was actually working on it.
So are you aware, did they own any other property on that road? Was there other trailers outside of those two that they had
Not
ownership
not
of?
as not as far as I knew.
Okay. And then so Jason would go, he would stay at Hodges Drive, but he would also like when you said you wrote this note,
That
he
was
was
when we were over at his dad's house. I don't know. I don't think Jason ever stayed at Mark's house with me. I know CJ did, but I don't think Jason. I mean, he might have been in and out of there a couple times, but I don't think he ever stayed there the 2 weeks that I was there.
so uh, are you aware of CJ going to California?
The only California trip that I know is like way back in the day before my nieces and nephews were born when CJ, Jason, and or I don't know if it was CJ and Jason. I think it was one of the brothers, my brother, and then Justin Mole went to California, but this is well over like 15, 16 years ago.
Okay. So when you go through and I'm just asking for me, not anybody else. But when I go through the research of the family and you look at each of their Facebooks and their personal history individually, it appears that every single one of them on their Facebooks all claim that they are from California. And CJ, specifically CJ, makes it very clear on his Facebook page that he's from California. And then on a certain date, which was like in 2018, he moved to California. And to this day, his Facebook page states that he's still living there. But yet, I have other reasons to believe that he's actually back in Indiana. Am I wrong for that?
Um,
Or
I I truly wouldn't know because, like I said, I haven't really had any communication with any of them since I was using. And that's been almost since 2/11 of 2019 is when I stopped using. So anytime before that is when I had contact with them. But besides the one message that I sent to Jason, I haven't talked to oh shit any of them. Sorry, my power
so
just went out for a
that's
second.
okay. Did so it are the Paladinos from California? Do they have
Not
ties
that I'm
in
aware of.
California?
That would be a more in-depth question that I could ask my mom that she would probably know, but I personally don't know if they're from here or there.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go through the chat and we're going to see what everyone's saying or asking. Hang on one second. Okay, so Priming Shame says Garrett Kurtz implicated Jason Palladino to the Delphi murders. Do you know anything about that?
About what, honey? I'm sorry.
About so Garrett Kurtz I think we talked about him earlier, and you said you didn't know him. But Garrett Kurtz, who's been charged with a couple other different murders, also, when he was arrested, he tried to implicate Jason Paladino in the Delphi murders, saying that Jason was involved. And that's what she was saying, that Garrett implicated Jason. Did you know anything about that or?
No.
Okay. So the next one is something to say. Mama Libra Scales is Kyra Dawn, aka KD is the bomb, writer of the cryptic note. Thank you. Something to say. You broke that down quick. Travis says, I think you answered my question. A photo of your doodles ended up on Facebook, and amateur investigators saw it on YouTube and started seeing whatever they think they saw. Can you read that?
Huh?
Can you read the comments? Do you see them?
Yeah, I'm trying to read them right now. Did you have a question?
So
I'm sorry.
no, Travis just posted kind of a statement, and he said that I think you answered my question. A photo of your doodles ended up on Facebook, and amateur investigators saw it on YouTube and started seeing whatever they think they saw.
Right.
And then the Criming Shame said, yes, Travis, that would be my friend and I. Sonny, I think that a lot of people don't, a lot of people seen it that way, to be honest. Mama Libra Scales says something to say. Thank you. I finally figured it out after asked. I don't know what that meant. Jennifer says, you're strong and a brave girl. Did you hear that?
Yes, thank
She said,
you.
you're a strong and brave girl.
Hey, everybody said that song is Caged Elephant, though.
Huh?
Everybody says the song is by Caged Elephant.
Good. I'm going to make it my theme song just for you for at least a week. Deb from True Crime Notebook says, Kyra, great job being a Christian witness for Jesus.
Absolutely.
Ivy Push said, proud of you and your recovery. Yes, like your recovery, like that's something to celebrate because that is not, I mean, this whole,
It was
I've
very
never
hard.
been, I bet. And I just think, I mean, I've never done meth and I've never had that type of a demon, but I think that it's more than I think that I think that everybody in this world has a demon, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a drug. Some people it's eating, some people it's, you
Oh yeah, you
know,
can be addicted to absolutely anything.
right. And I just think that when you make a decision to cut yourself off from anything that your body or your brain feels like you need, it's something to overcome. And so that's commendable. So and for you, like someone who is addicted to food or binge watching and eating at the same time or whatever the case may be, there's things that are more extreme than others, and it's more extreme than others to walk away from that. So I definitely commend you, and I'm glad that the people who are watching are commending you for that too. So maybe you coming on here was not only just to kind of like set the record straight, but it was a whole entire boost for yourself and the journey that you're on to help you continue on that journey and make you feel great about the decisions that you've made for yourself.
There's somebody on here that, oh, where'd it go? Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments and I'm just,
Can you see the ones that are on the screen?
yeah. So has law enforcement or other official ever followed up with you to confirm whether this is something to follow up on or a dead end? No, I've never talk to anybody else about the situation besides my family when I was sent the video. So, and since I haven't said anything until now or came forward, I haven't been followed up with. But if any law enforcement wants to follow up with me, I'd be more than happy to share the same things that I'm sharing right now.
Okay, so Ivy Push says, she's asking the same thing, which you just answered. So something to say, maybe she didn't want to come out sooner because she wasn't sober yet and didn't want to have to explain the circumstances. Best wishes, KD, in your continued recovery. Does that sum
Thank
it
you
up?
very
That
much.
you didn't come out before? Or
Right. I didn't know anything before I got sober about the situation, about the cryptic note or anything. It wasn't until 2019 that I got sober. I'm not sure when the cryptic note actually came out. The quote unquote cryptic note.
Ivy, I admire this young lady's morals and not feed into the rumor mill. It's a criming shame, says Garrett worked for Ron Logan, and Garrett Kurtz insinuated that he's a Paladino and that he's a Paladino had something to do with them murders at Delphi. Keegan Dunker is one of Garrett Kurtz's best friends. Hence, KD is the bomb. And see that, okay, so that kind of explains it a little bit. So Garrett Kurtz, who was implicated back then in the Delphi murders, he had a friend by the name of Keegan Dunker. So when your note was put on Facebook and it said KD is the bomb, some people took it as it was initials for Keegan Dunker.
Keegan Dunker. Yeah, it's just Kyra Dawn. My sister's always called
Amy. Hey. She said, Sunny from Criming Shame says, I just wish you would have reached out to me right from the start when she learned that this was all a, I think she means all a myth.
I wish I would have too.
Snarky ass angel. It's
We already went
strange
over
that
that one.
did we?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
because
strange
I
that she
said about
didn't.
that one, and then we re-explained everything about the doodles.
Yeah. So Travis says you have zero obligation to respond to people who sit around and speculate about things. Of law enforcement reaches out or attorneys for a suspect, you should take the time to be truthful and assist. Which I think that you would be if someone was to reach out at this point.
Absolutely.
Criming Shame says, I had asked a friend to go check out the Paladino. She came back with that note, and at the time, it made absolute sense to at least us. I get that. I understand. And I've had, and like I told you today on the phone, even like my coverage, like the case that I'm covering is linked to Delphi simply because of Garrett and the fact that he was a person of interest. But there's this like dark cloud over Ashley and the fact that all of these things that have been said that I really just feel like she just gave up on life and she had no means to, I mean, defend herself. And I feel like this right here was one of those things that implicated her in being a part of something as horrible as the Delphi crimes that made people believing that she would be a part of something like Nicole's case just as believable. And so when I reached out to you today and I said, you don't understand like how important this is not just justification for the Delphi case. This is for me personally, it's justification in that there are truth behind Ashley's words. And when people say that you don't have to come out and defend yourself, that's not necessarily true because sometimes when you don't and you don't have the means to, things can be taken out of context and people will begin to have this idea or belief about who you are as a person, and it trickles down to everything else. So the fact that, like Ashley has said, since day one, she didn't know anything about this. But people were implicating her as being the author of this, and the doodles on this note were her tattoos. KD is the bomb. This is, if you flip it sideways or you turn it over, was a complete replica of the Monon High Bridge. And she's sitting there saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And no one believed her. There's a little bit of a satisfaction for her in this.
Absolutely.
Something to say says, Snarky asked Angel, why is it strange? Doodles don't always mean anything, probably, especially when you're under the influence. And that's true. And again, let me pull these up. These are some of the images that Kyra sent me from her journal, because she's an advocate doodler. She doodles. So, like, and some of her tattoos. Is that K-I-E for Kai?
Yep.
But even on these notes, like, it looks like she's writing someone a note, and then all around the peripheral, around the edges, she's doodling. And
I even did the same thing in my J, F, and my T that I did in the J and the P in my other doodle. And this is actually one of my NA notes that I wrote when I was going to NA still.
so, yeah, you're a doodle queen. And then we're going to back down to Ivy Push says, Travis Williamson, so true. Applaud her. Absolutely. It would surprise me if law enforcement even followed up on this. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut in regards to that, because I'm not a conspiracy theorist person at all. I'm a factual person, and connecting the dots based on what's laying in front of me and what makes sense and what doesn't. And in Indiana, I don't want to call it a conspiracy. I want to call it underhanded. Scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, and convictions will come at all costs, regardless to who's guilty or not. So for everybody who's following the Delphi case, I have no opinion about Richard Allen, his guilt or his innocence. He can be as guilty as the sky is dark at midnight. That's fine. But the lawyers and the courts have to prove it. And they don't get to prove it by being shady or underhanded and by stripping away his civil rights and taking away his choice of attorneys. No judge has the right to base their opinion on whether they agree or disagree with the defense representation of their client. The defense obligation in any criminal case is to defend their client by all means. And I feel like that is what Rick Allen's attorneys have been doing. So just remember that going forward. If you believe that Richard Allen is guilty and Nick McClellan can prove it, he's guilty. If there's proof, he's guilty. But to get to that judgment, it has to be done the right way. That's what this country was based on. The fundamental purposes of everybody having civil rights and everybody having the right to a fair trial. And regardless of a gag order, prior to that gag order, the state, the investigators, the defense attorneys, or I'm not sorry, not the defense attorneys, but the prosecutor in this case, all the way up to ISP, there has been things leaked, and they weren't removed from this case. So all I'm saying is that Richard Allen, especially in a case like this, you want the right person who committed these crimes to go to prison for the rest of their life, and it has to be done the right way. Otherwise, you're going to fight this for the next 20 years on appeals. It has to be done the right way. That's all I have to say about that. That doesn't mean that I believe that Rick Allen is innocent. It doesn't mean that I believe that Rick Allen is guilty. All I'm saying is I have seen and I have followed enough cases to know that when people are not given their due process, and their civil liberties have been violated for the benefit of a small county or a prosecutor's office to cut the edges and skip proving their case, that's a problem. If he's guilty, prove it. It should be easy. Criming Shane says Travis, along with other thousands and thousands of things, obviously, yes. I think she's responding into what Travis said before. Snarky ass Angel, thank you for sharing the story. Yes, thank you for explaining it and putting it to rest. It's a criming shame. Hey, Jenny from the block, aka Snarky, something to say. Did Kyra go to Delphi High School? I think you went somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I went to Twin Lakes.
Ivy Push says they all would have been much older than her. So was
I
Jay?
was definitely the youngest of my group.
Were you?
Everybody that I hung out with when I was using was all probably 10 plus years older than me.
So can I ask, like, how did you even come in contact with? I mean, I understand that your families. Is that why? Because your family was friends with their family, so Jason was like a relative. Or
So
was
I think my mom dated Curdy for like just a smidge of time before I was born.
Mhm.
And then Tommy, my brother, ended up being friends with Jason. And that's really all I know is how they got in the family, really. I mean, I wouldn't say they're in the family, but that's how I knew them growing up. Jason was my brother, CJ was my brother. I used to call Mark Uncle Mark and everything.
So your Uncle Mark is currently incarcerated. Do you have any contact with him at all?
No, I haven't had any contact with any Paladino since I got sober, besides
Okay.
Jason, who I messaged.
And you currently are currently living in the Monticello area?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see here. Hunting Evil True Crime Investigates. Do you know how many times I've seen this doodle broken down hours on end for donations? Lord, thank God you're putting it to rest. Hope it stays that way. Got old. Okay. Hunting Evil True Crime Investigates. Amen. Jennifer says Hunting Evil True Crime Investigates. Travis says I'm going easing. There were a lot of really, really mad people when Richard Allen got arrested. It wasn't the person they had come up with when they solved the case. This happens in a case like this. Yeah, Richard Allen came out of the clear blue. And I think that's why there's so much. Well, there was a lot of speculation around Delphi long before Richard Allen was arrested. And before Richard Allen was arrested, everyone was hanging their hats on the Kleins. And prior to that, everyone was hanging their hat on Daniel Nations, Gabriel Ellis, Garrett Kurtz. There was a lot of people that were considered persons of interest that all had reasonable connections to the Delphi case. And unfortunately, Richard Allen didn't. He just came out of nowhere. So that makes it even harder for people to swallow. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, LE in this case has made this case as suspicious and um, worthy of conspiracy theories simply around all of the secrecy around it. Even right down to the weekend when they arrested Richard Allen, it was all hush hush. And when they came out and did the interviews, they even at that point in time, Nicholas McClelland himself stood at the podium and said, "We believe there are other actors involved." And then when the defense attorneys come out with other actors involved, they're accused of being facetious and that they're, going off on this wild goose chase. But the fact of the matter is, the majority of the memorandum regarding Richard Allen and the other people involved, they're claiming came from the state's discovery itself. And not only did they state it in a court document, but apparently, according to Judge Gall, who stated, I have yet to read the 1,500 pages that were submitted to back up their claims. That's not fictitious. Right or wrong, they're defending their client. And I would hope to God that anybody in this country who doesn't have the means to go out and drop $30,000 in a defense firm's lap to defend them for something that they have the right to be defended for, whether they're innocent or guilty. Everybody has the right to a defense. But you're getting first-class defense attorneys who are being paid as public defenders. There's something to be said about that. You can agree with them or you can not agree with them, but they're doing their job, and I respect them for that. Okay, we're going to move on here. Ivy Push says, "Hell, I am burning all my papers. I doodle on while I work." Yeah, you better, Ivy. Get rid of those papers. True. Thank you. Denise says thank you. Jennifer says thank you. The Joy of Freckles says she loves that song. Again, I'm going to make it my theme song. I haven't even heard it yet, but I'm going to make it my theme song. Okay. Yep. Mama says it's Caged Elephants. But doesn't that make you guys feel so much better that the Joy of Freckles says Caged Elephants? Graham says she's heard it before. Ivy Push says Caged Elephants. Travis says that makes sense. They saw it and said doodles. I'm glad that I don't know the facts and speculation of this case. Oh, Travis, I think you know a lot more about this case. Travis also says, so what were some of the theories that people came up with about the doodles? KD, do you remember what some of the speculation was about the doodles? I know that one of them was it was a replica of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of blend some of the facts together. I know that so I'm not even going to speculate on the facts that I get confused when it comes to crossing over between Ashley's case and Delphi. But when you remember, because I think that you've only had to deal with just the fact that this was your doodle page, when your aunt sent you the link to show you, hey, your artwork is being talked about, what was it that you remember was being highlighted about it?
It was basically the bridge thing with the J and the P. They're trying to say that the designs on there perfectly match up to whatever bridge that they were on. I think there was some X marks the spot thing. I don't even know if there's an X on that doodle right now, but they were saying like it was some sort of map down there where I drew the little squiggle to the KD is the bomb. They're just really taking it out of hand and out of context for sure. Like I said, I just quickly watched I tried to go into where they started talking about the video when I watched it earlier before all this, just so I could be a little bit caught up.
Okay. And I just got your text, sweetie, that you have to put your kiddos to bed. So just really quick, one more thing. No rest for the wicked. Kai, I'm going over so I don't have to go back through and pull it up on the screen. So I see now, like your wrist tattoo, like the believer. That's your tattoo?
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's actually, believe is right here. And it actually used to be a thinner. I don't know how to do this. It used to be thinner. I redid it and I made the cross even bigger, but it used to be just a thin line. It was just a simple cross because I had a scar there.
Okay. And then there was a below that, it says addicted.
That's
there's
actually
some
on the back of my neck. I got that one when I tried to get sober when I was like 18 or 19, I think. I got it on the back of my neck. The same person who did my Kai one did the one on my back of my neck. That's going to be harder for me to try and show you guys.
Right. I have it. I just didn't, I mean, I was trying to get everything organized to put up here tonight. I don't think that, is that on here? That tattoo that you sent me?
Oh, right
Oh, there
there,
it
the
is.
third one.
Yeah, addicted. Yeah, and on this and on the doodle note, it's underneath that, and it says, "I really don't know why I did this."
I'm just doodling and I don't really know why I did any of the doodles.
Okay. Well, I will let you go so you can get your babies to bed, and I'll finish out with the chat and the questions as best I can. But
If there's any more questions, feel free to go ahead and message me too.
oh my gosh, you're opening yourself up to a can of worms. Are you sure?
You can absolutely screenshot it or whatever you need to so people know that you're not just getting words out of your mouth, they're coming out of mine.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope that um, this put this to rest, because I know that just in the last couple of weeks, actually the entire time that I've been working on Ashley's case, I've been asked about, can you ask Ashley about the cryptic note and what Kai fucking pie meant? And I can only say so many times, she doesn't know, she didn't write it. And then
Right.
I'm just grateful that you were willing to come on, and um, I commend you for your progress and your journey going forward. And I wish you the best, and I'm sure I'll be in touch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Okay, guys. There it is. I hope that that was worth tuning in for. I'm going to go through the rest of these really quick. Sorry, I've just over the personal attacks from someone done. Even live here, I'm less than an hour from Delphi and closer when I was an FBI informant, first agent there on scene was one on scene was one over me as informant. I'm not sure what that meant. Sorry, I'm just over the personal attacks from someone done. Even live here. I'm less than an hour from Delphi and closer when I was an FBI informant. First agent there on scene was one over me as an informant. Ivy Push says, see you soon. It's a criming shame. I get it. Put we are request at this channel. I get it. Put we are quest on this channel. Hunting Evil says, now one thing she might get, I have been pointing out on my page, so many users and dealers all know each other and the suspects, yet no one knows or wants to talk about cases. Some of the names keep showing up. Some of the names. You know what? You're right about that. And there's somebody behind the scenes here that I've been working with for quite a while. And I believe she's in chat. And if she is, she's probably staying quiet like she normally does. But I have somebody on the ground there that is like KD, recovered, but is very familiar with a lot of people to the point where all I have to do is give her a name. And within an hour, I have information. And it's not always detailed information, but it's a direction. So I agree. And I think that a lot of smaller states, I would have to say, like, I live in Ohio and I live in I live in Columbus, which is more of a metropolitan area. But when you go on the outskirts, um, to the smaller rural areas, I'm sure it's the same. And so, like, you've got Indianapolis, and I would say maybe Lafayette, maybe a bigger area in Indiana. But all of these areas that we talk about, Logansport, Monticello, Delphi, Newton County, Crawfordsville, um, Rensselaer, all of these places all are very small, and all of the people within the same network kind of like move between them. So yeah, they all do run together. And so it is very hard. You get people, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who know who I'm talking about or why I'm contacting them. Then they'll say, I no. And especially with the Paladinos, it's one of those things where I don't think the Paladinos are as big and bad and as powerful as what we on the like as outsiders looking in think they are, but we're not there on the ground in these small communities living amongst them to see them firsthand and the moves they make and the orders that they do as far as who can do what, who can say what, who's in control of what. But to these people who live in these small communities, it's very real. And all I can do is respect that. And like with her, I'm gonna be honest, when she said that she was willing to come on and show her face and talk about it, I really tried to convince her to just talk about the cryptic note. And because I was worried about the fact that, you know the Paladinos, and I don't want to put you in a position that's going to cost you your livelihood in any way, shape, or form. And I've had people reach out to me through this channel saying, please be careful. And I'm like, I don't even live there. I live like almost 5 hours away. Doesn't and they're like, it doesn't matter. Be careful. Be very careful. And I'm like, okay. And I don't want to take it as a grain of salt, but at the same time, this stuff has to be talked about simply because law enforcement there and prosecutors there aren't. When it comes to prime example, the Paladinos. This has been I can go back through their records and see that they have been implicated in a lot of things for many, many, many years. And those major things they've been implicated in have never been on their record. It's always these small town petty crimes, breaking and entering, being charged with meth on top of that, driving without a license. And that's all petty. But yet their names keep coming up. And I would love, I would love to get a hold of Jason Paladino and bring him on here and ask him to explain himself or defend himself. But I don't think it would happen. Simply because I feel like a lot of other people, he probably feels like it's too far gone. Like no matter what he says, it's not going to change the opinion of his family or of him, period. So it's kind of an uphill battle. And I'm trying. Let me see. So, Hunting Evil True Crime Investigate says, fact check me, look up Indiana missing and killed. Cases now dive into that troubled community. There has been so many missing and killed, all connected to the troubled community and remain cold. It's sad. Um, Hunting Evil and True Crime. Which community? Are you just talking about Indiana in general, or are you focusing in on a certain area? Like I focus in kind of on like I don't want to say Delphi. Delphi just has a name simply because not simply. It's not simply at all. I take that back. They have a big name because of Abby and Libby. But outside of that, Delphi is not really known for anything. Um, so researching this case, I keep constantly being pulled over outside of Delphi into Monticello, right around that 600, like 5-mile marker. right up there to Hodges Drive, because again, it's like anything else in Indiana in those rural areas. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and then boom. And when I say boom, I'm pulling up to an address, and that address is literally within a quarter mile of every single address that I want to look up. And I'm like, wow, like they all live like right here. Like when we just talked about the Cottrell name has been going around in this case for years. Sheena Cottrell has been a name that's been infiltrated in this case for years. Thank you, Garrett Kurtz. But yet there are two other Cottrells in that small community, one being Mary, who is involved in a relationship and has been for a long time with Curtis Paladino. And I'm going to say it because she's all over the place and how people have never brought her to the forefront before. Her name is Mary Cottrell. Look her up on TikTok. Mary Cottrell. Short blonde hair. She's on Curtis's Facebook page. She's all over TikTok. Then here's something else that I found to be really interesting is on her TikTok, which she's got quite the following. But there is something on her TikTok that I tried to look up the other night that just took me down a rabbit hole that I was like, what? And then it took me to Reddit, and I could not figure out for the life of me what it meant. And what I couldn't tell if I'm watching a video game or if this is what's the word? Um Odinistic type religion or a Wicca. I couldn't tell you. I'm going to give you the name of it. Hold on one second. To look her up. It is called sorry guys. I'm going to give it to you in just a second. It is come on. Okay, it is Noble Alliance, and then there's another one called 360. And if you go, and this is a rabbit hole, this is not something that I'm saying. Kingdom 360 is another one. Loyalty Family, Unbreakable, um, Paradise City 360. So when you look up all of these things that are hashtagged on her TikTok, a lot of these have been linked to topics on Reddit. So when you go to Reddit, they're talking about an army and a war, and I couldn't tell if it was a real thing, if it was coming from a Bible, or if it was a video game. And I still haven't gotten to the bottom of it. And I read and read and read, and I Googled it, and I still couldn't get to the bottom of it. But it's on there, and there's a lot of people who follow it, and it's very it's not normal. I don't know what it is, but it could very much so be a religion. But that whole family has given a lot of reasons to question them or suspect them in the Delphi case. And the fact that I'm just one of those people like I do here on this channel. You don't have to agree with my opinion. You don't have to like my opinion. But when I bring it to you, I'm going to bring it to you with facts, and I'm going to bring it to you with paperwork and documentation and lay it out for you. And it's doesn't have to, you don't have to like it. And if you're innocent, then speak it. If you're innocent, you should have no, especially when you're not being pursued by law enforcement. My neighbors, my community, They don't have to like me speaking out on my behalf to defend myself. I'm going to do that for me. And I would think that in this family, that at some point in time in the past 8 or 9 years that they've been implicated in all the things they've been implicated, they've not come out not once and set the record straight. They've hid, and there's a lot of people that they have surrounding them that continuously keep getting in trouble and point the fingers at them. So I don't know. Travis says it's funny to watch people who use meth try and do a remodel project. I'm guessing not much progress on the back trailer during the 2 weeks that she was there. Well, it doesn't look like it at all. Meth has turned into a generational issue. Okay, really quick. Let me run this by you guys because I had a conversation today with somebody, and she's probably listening, and she's probably, hi Frank, long time no here, stranger. Glad you're here though. I'll call you and complain. I had a conversation today with a young lady who's been messaging me throughout the course of all of this, and she brought up a really good scenario that I hadn't really ever even thought of. So, if you guys watched the live the other night where I read off Talitha's letter from the one that she wrote to Garrett while he was in jail, and she referred to, well, let me back up. Throughout Talitha's interrogation video, she referred to Chris as a name. She said Garrett kept calling him a name, and I don't know what it was, but I know now that it's Chris and he's a guy. So that obviously, when I got the letter that Talitha had wrote, and it said, when you came back with Elf, I thought, okay, is that what Garrett was calling Chris? I asked Chris, I reached out to Chris, and of course he took offense to it. God damn it, I've never been called an elf in my life. Okay. But you're also telling me that you jumped out of the window of the trailer too. So you can't really put a stock in that. So, for this while, I've been looking at this letter that Talitha wrote and assuming that when she was saying that Garrett had said that when you came back with the elf, yada, yada, yada. So I assumed that she was talking about Chris. Well, this person who's been following this and going over everything that I'm doing with it with a fine tooth comb sent me all these links to all these lab reports and information about these psychedelic drugs. And one of them, I'm sure that some of you have heard of it. It's called DMT, which is it's a hallucinative drug that when you take it, a lot of people say that they see elves or they call them mechanic elves. And she was like, do you think that um, this is what she was talking about? And I said, and then I had to stop myself. And this is real time, people. This is me telling you real time shit that's been said to me that I have disregarded because it's hard enough for me to sit here and convey to you, this is what Ashley said, and you believe it. But yet, as time goes on, you're seeing that I'm able to prove, and I'm not sitting here saying, let me feed you every word out of Ashley's mouth and you believe it to be gospel. What I'm saying is that out of this whole entire scenario, I have been able to break down step by step from the beginning, which would start on March 25th until April 1st, where everybody was, what they were doing, and pretty much be able to document it. However, and this will be another live because it's already 9:03, but about 4 months ago, when I reached out to Josh, I'm not going to say his last name, but I did an interview with him. And his interview is on my video list, and he's the one who picked Ashley and Garrett up at the hospital after Garrett put her in the hospital. And he came on and did the interview. However, that wasn't the first interview I had done with him. And I had reached out to him probably like 2 months before this because I had to kind of like touch base, warm up, get him to open up and talk to me because Ashley's not in communication with really anybody. So all these people that she's sending me and she's directing me to, I have to reach out on my own. And a lot of times they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" "No, I'm not talking to you," because they all don't wanna be a part of a murder case. I mean, that's understandable. So I have to tread lightly and I have to talk to them respectfully and kind of, you know, break down why I'm reaching out, who sent me. So anyway, when I first reached out to Josh and he was telling me who he was to Ash, he was like, "Oh my god, yes, I'm her friend. We've been friends for a long time." And, he actually went through he was like, "Let me look on my phone." I think I've had 2 phones since then, but I remember when Garrett beat the living shit out of her in January, and she called me because she didn't wanna stay at her house because they had let him out of jail, and she didn't know where he was, and, she wasn't wanting to go to her family's house because he had, like, caused enough trouble at her family's house, so she was trying to stay at a friend's, and he was like, she sent me pictures of her face and her neck and how messed up she was. But of course, our luck is it's too old, time's gone by, different phone. He didn't have the pictures. But he kept talking and he was going on and on about that time and how Ashley had told him that every time she was around Garrett, anytime he would pop in at her house and, she would be cordial, like he would be there imposing, like, this is my shit, like I live here. And she's like, okay, when are you leaving? And trying not to cause, chaos because he would immediately, especially, back then she said that he was doing spice. And she said when he was doing spice, he was a lunatic, basically. But she had told this Joss guy that she thought Garrett was drugging her. I blew it off. I have it in writing. See, my new phone versus my old phone. It's in my old phone. I just have to go back and look it up. But that's what he told me, that she thought she had told him way back then that she thought Garrett was drugging her. I blew it off. I'm like, I'm really not going to be able to sell that to anybody who's um, drinking coffee. So then time goes on. I talk to Josh again, and I'm basically asking him for permission I said, will you please let me interview you and record it? Because I only feel like that's respectful. And I'll put it on my channel so people can hear your version of events. He said, absolutely no problem. But right prior to that, when he was telling me the whole story about when he picked them up, and he said he had taken Ashley to get something to eat because she looked like she needed something to eat. He said during the car ride, um, obviously he was trying to get out of her what's going on, you know, not realizing that the major problem was in the back seat. And once he realized the major problem was sitting in the back seat, which was Garrett pulls a knife out. So, but he says that Ashley was like shutting down, not really answering him when he was, questioning her about her relationship, like what really happened. Like, you look messed up. She had been beaten up, at least beaten up, not like black eye, bloody nose, busted lip, but like someone had their hands on her to the point where she had stopped breathing, according to the person who took her into the ER, which was Garrett, and that he had done CPR. So he says by the time they get to Denny's, which is where he took her to eat, he said her whole demeanor changed and she started acting like a kid, like an 8-year-old kid, like she was on something. And so, anyway, long story short, I'm just saying this because I'm going to go back through everything that I have, and kind of piece it and part it together because I've talked to so many people and I don't throw away anything. I screenshot everything, I save it, but the problem is I'm horrible at where I put it. I have to go find it. So, um, when this person brought this up to me the other day, I'm like, "What?" And then I think back um, to Letha's interrogation video, and I know that you guys, I know that you guys don't know the detail. Like you have to watch, and then you have to go back and watch again and watch the other ones. But um, when it comes to Talitha's interrogation video, I feel like she's like, see, like she's teetawing on who she's protecting and what she's allowing to come out to protect herself, and then also trying to stay in line and course with what story was told. Anyway, when she is claiming that Garrett and her and Nicole are driving, first of all, that right there is that's sus to me because there is no way in hell do I believe that Nicole was in a car with Garrett and Talitha or Garrett and Nicole, period, verbally out loud saying they're going anywhere where Ashley was. The girls didn't like each other. Nicole wouldn't have wanted to go there. So you have to put this, you have to, weigh it with a grain of salt. But Talitha says in her interrogation video that in the car on the way to Kentland, she tells Garrett that Ashley's been calling her phone, which she had been, and Ashley didn't know where she was. And Garrett's response was, "She ain't that fucked up. She knows where she's at." Okay. So to me, and I know that Travis, I know you're sitting there running your mouth right now. I know I'm not going to be the one testifying in court, and I know this is not going to hold up in um, her post conviction relief. I'm just saying, love you. But as the story goes, and as and if this story would have been told at trial, I feel the outcome would have been different. If you would have put all these pieces together, it would have made sense. But to me, there's a couple of things that I have to fall back on. And you can take it for a grain of salt. You don't have to agree. You don't have to believe it. You can say bullshit. Ash is a liar. Okay. But we are here right now with all of this stuff that I'm presenting pretty much because of Ashley. And she might not be your cup of tea. Um, and you can hang your hat on who she is based on the cryptic note, based on the rumors and speculation, or you can at least give her the benefit of the doubt and take some of her word for this. And the fact of the matter is that Ashley said she wasn't smoking meth at Jasmine's trailer because she injected it. That's the only way that meth got her high was she used a needle. And that Garrett and Mikey left the trailer because they were going to go get it. They were going to go get meth. So there was no meth at the trailer. And Jasmine was smoking spice while they were gone. So that she's thrown out there. But she's not that fucked up. Well, Garrett and Mikey Hiddle left Jasmine's trailer at around 11 a.m. And if you believe that, um, and then the only recollection that we have is Mikey and Talitha. Remind you, Garrett never even brings up any of this in his interrogation video. He doesn't talk about he doesn't talk about any of this. He doesn't talk about putting Ashley in the hospital. He doesn't talk about going and staying at a hotel. He doesn't talk about getting in the car with Mikey and driving to Delphi. He talks about Mikey Hiddle, but that's after the fact when he's trying to get rid of Nicole's car. He leaves all that out. But if you believe Jasmine or Ashley, Mikey and Garrett left there before noon to go to Delphi to get meth. Yet Talitha says they showed up at 7 p.m., around 7 p.m. It was getting dark, were her exact words. Okay, so is there that much of a discrepancy? I mean, what are we talking? 6, 7 hours of a discrepancy in time from one place to another when it's only like an hour and 5 minutes from Kentland to Delphi? So we have that. And then they get to the Paladino trailer, and whatever you believe happened there, you can listen to Talitha or you can listen to Mikey, but both of them are kind of the same. Mikey and Talitha drive to Mikey's apartment in his car, and he says Garrett and Nicole never showed up. And then you can listen to Talitha, who says that she went with Mikey in Mikey's car, and Garrett and Nicole showed up not long after. Well, either or, excluding what went on at Mikey's apartment, where was Nicole and Garrett during that time from leaving Paladino's to getting to Mikey Hiddle's house? Where'd they go? Who'd they have contact with? That's what I'm trying to find out. And I know that Russell Stout lived right in front of right in front of Jason Paladino's trailer at that time. And the reason that's important is because Russell Stout is the one that I believe was in the car with Ray and Nicole, or with Garrett and Nicole in Ray's car when they got arrested. After all of this went down, Russell Stout went to, of course, it was after it all went down, um, because no one wants to do the right thing in this case ever. But Russell went to Kevin, Ashley's stepdad, and said, "Hey, I don't know why anyone didn't contact me, but Garrett sent me a message. He actually left me a voicemail message on my phone, and he played it for Kevin, and it said, 'I got rid of your problem. It's been taken care of.'" And Kevin was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And Russell said that Garrett was talking about Nicole, that Nicole had stole heroin from his property being right in front of Jason Palladino's. You go back to Talitha's letter and you hear the whole Jason told you to give her a hot shot. They're supposedly at Mikey Hiddle's house shooting up heroin. Where'd the heroin come from? So there's this whole it's like the proof is all there if you line it up, but yet there's like little gaps in between. And I have yet to come across someone who's able to come forward and show their face or verbally give me factual information. And the ones who have given me factual information have said, "Please do not tell anyone I'm telling you this." So here we are. So there's been a lot of things that I've been told that I can't repeat. Um, and some of it I would probably say I wouldn't even bother repeating it because I don't believe it's to be true. It's completely out of the realm, left field. But there's a lot of things in this case um, that branch off between the drugs, the heroin. Um, we have the king factor, the heroin dealer that Garrett talks about in his first interrogation video, who now, and I'm I'm going to say emphatically that the conversations that I had about King is, if you guys haven't gone back and watched the lives or watched the interrogation videos, King is a black male who was originally from Chicago, and he was a heroin dealer that crossed over from Chicago, Illinois area into Newton County and further down south, like into Lafayette, Rensselaer, and all the way down to Delphi and Monticello. But he was a heroin dealer. Garrett talks about him, but there are people that know King only as King, but have family members who have run drugs for him. And they've run drugs to the point of these are family members who were addicted to heroin, that were being used by King to get heroin and exchange for running heroin up to the prison and dropping it off to a prison guard to disseminate to inmates. They were getting their drugs for free for doing these runs for them. And then when the Nicole case happened, hi, when the Nicole case happened, and he found himself to be very close to this case, um, he pieced out. And I've been given his name, but I don't believe the name I was given was the right name. I've researched it in every way, shape, and form, and I can't find any real person that age from that area who is a black male. So, but as far as the family members telling me that, um, you know, I was going to show up. I mean, this is what I was told. I knew where he was meeting people, and I knew where he was giving them drugs and where they were taking the drugs, which was up to Westville Prison. But this person knew so much that they were staking out to catch him, to beat the living crap out of him because he was ruining his family members' lives with their addiction. That's why I believe what I'm being told. Hey, Cherie. Let me see here. Cherie. All right, guys, I'm going to bring Cherie up. Cherie is an attorney from New York. She's my friend, and she's also very smart, and she helps work on this case. She's also a member of Foul Play, and she works on the Stephen Avery case as well. So, Cherie, I just dropped you the link, and Cherie has helped me do a lot of the requests and the PAC complaints to Newton County for them denying my records request. So, Cherie, I just posted the link for you to come in, honey. Mama, I'm so behind on the chat, guys. I'm sorry. Let me see. I don't recall. How are you this evening? KO, what's KO say? Man, them Paladinos must be real ladies, man. They are the ex to several so far. You know what? I kind of feel like just some of the stuff that I've learned about them, I kind of feel like a lot of them, it's kind of like an open relationship with everyone that they're involved in. I mean, you've got an okay, this is speculation with the big capital S, like right above my head. Speculation, rumorville, right here. I'm going to tell you what I've been told. So don't go back and said case by case or Amy said this. I'm just going to tell you some of the things that passing through that has been brought up. Hey, Cherie.
Hello.
Hello.
I missed the first part, but I'll go back and
Wow.
listen again.
Oh my goodness, I've been rambling for a long time, but it's been good. Lots of good details coming out tonight. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Lots of good things. So Katie said what? Travis says, Katie, you don't owe anyone anything except to your continued sobriety and your family. That's it. If people are going to speculate and theorize, which you can't control, Serenity Prayer. That was nice. Kyra Dawn came back on. Oh, Kyra says, I think Kyra's back. I think she's back in the chat. Or I'm just late. I could just be late. So anyway, speculation that that I've been told. So it's been speculated that Jason was a wild boy, and obviously Talitha was a wild girl, and Talitha was kind of a pass around from guy to guy in the Paladino family. And whatever female was kind of brought into the mix, she embraced. But I know that there has been, and this is and it's weird. I'm going to say it's not weird. It actually reiterates the fact that it's true to a certain degree that there was a lot of what's the word, um, orgies that took place, a lot of threesomes that took place um, with the Paladinos and their women, and it was just kind of a normal thing. So those are things that I've been told, but I have no way of proving them. And I have I have tried to reach out to Talitha. She is a smart ass bee, which is obvious. Like she's not stupid. Um, but she does admit that her and Jason were together. But she also wants to reiterate that she's pretty much Mark's woman. But during all this time, Mark was in jail, and she knows nothing else. She wanted to make that clear. She knows nothing else. So, Ivy Push, speaking of Chadwell, there was a worse predator over Keegan Klein. Field taught him some sick ways. Older predator, ISP, and KPD silently rolled out, tried to anyways. Hunting Evil, are you saying that Chadwell was more of a predator than Keegan Klein? Okay, Jennifer, thanks for this live. I shared it for you. Good night. Nice to meet you and hear your story, Katie. Thank you. Travis says, when you have a supply meth, coke, and crack, age fentanyl, you look great to everyone who uses. When you get sober, you tend to see things in a new light. Yeah, I mean that seems to be everybody's truth once they're sober. One song I used while trying to find someone I helped before I went missing. Good for finding oneself as well. Look up, I'll find you, my friend. What is that? Ligra? Good song for even trying to find oneself. Um, Ozzy Osbourne has an album, No Rest for the Wicked. I like Ozzy. Yeah, it was pretty a cryptic map to the bridge. Yes, it was possibly a cryptic map to the bridge. Stacy Cyphers. Hi, Stacy. So freaking proud of you, Kai. I am from Delphi. I too am sober. It is, like you said, one day at a time. You are so genuine and bright that shines with sobriety. She did do a good job tonight, didn't she? I wasn't nervous that she wouldn't. I was just nervous of putting her in this position, just because I knew how important this was to a lot of people. I just didn't want her coming forward to be. I didn't want her to get any backlash. So I'm glad everybody has stepped up and said good things. That's great. Okay, what am I missing? Is it Lacira or Cherie? Can you help me out on that, Mama? What am I missing? how do you say what you're saying? At Lecera, Lecrea.
Or Lacrea, but I don't know what she's referring to. I'd have to go
I
back.
don't either. But I want to know. Ivy Push, Hunting Evil, Keegan Klein, and Chadwell, both at Wabash Correctional Prison. They are moving Keegan Klein to Miami. Ooh. Why is Keegan getting moved? Do you know? Travis says, shoot, I was hoping those doodles were a treasure map showing where the Paladino's gold is buried. Dang. Me too. Like, I'll tell you what, when I pulled up to that address on Hodges Drive, I was, it like literally, I know that my little compilation of videos was probably a little bit extra with the scary music. But guys, come on. I only had at the time a list of music I could use that wasn't copyrighted. And I just wanted something to drown out the sarcastic GPS chick that was blaring through my speakers. But when I watched that compilation of me traveling through that little small road and that music, I'm going to be honest, it fucking fits. Like, it is such a weird vibe right there in that area. And it was almost like in my mind for years covering, following, I don't want to say covering because I only say covering when you come out like I'm doing and covering a case publicly. But I've followed the Delphi case for years. Every podcast, every person ever named as a suspect, and deep dive them. And I think I've said a million times that I have a job where I can walk around with an earbud in all day and just hit play. And I go from one thing to the freaking next. And when I pictured this trailer and the atmosphere around it, I'm telling you, when I pulled up, it was accurate. It was just a very strange feeling. It was ran down, but there was something about it that made you feel like you better not freaking pull in that driveway. And I'm glad I didn't, because I did, after going back through all of that footage that I got while I was out there. There was a camera right there pointing at the front porch and the driveway. So I'm glad I didn't. So it's there's no pot of gold there, Travis. I'm sorry. Lucretia, I'll find you is a good one from even trying to find yourself. Okay, so Hunting Evil True Crime Investigates. What is Lucretia? Is that a name of a band? Lecrea? I want to know what that is.
I googled that word and I found Lecrae, like Lecrae, which it looks like he's a rapper or hip hop or something, some kind of musician.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's what they mean.
I don't know. I want to know. I'm dying to know. Deb's Crew Crime Notebook says, thank you so much, Kyra. You are so brave. Thanks, Deb, for stopping in. Thank you, Kai. Travis says, Ivy Push says, case by case. I did send a DM. Yeah. I think Amber got it. Will you send another one or actually post in the group so I can message you directly? I want to talk to you about these records requests. Let me see. Hunting Evil, True Crime, So True. I'm lost. Thanks for your time, Kyra. I hope she's still listening. Thanks, Kai. Deb says, good job, Amy. Thanks, Deb. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I forget about that all the time. Yes, please, guys, hit the like and subscribe button, please. It really does help, when I hit that analytics button and I see that I at least hit, like, like, not a flat line, but I didn't drop. Please hit the like and subscribe. Ivy says, "Stay strong." Hunting evil, sorry for any drama. No, dude, you did not bring any drama. Um, I still wanna know what Lucretia means. You gotta spit it out. Travis says she knows something she isn't saying. Not that girl is in recovery 100%. I agree. And she was so forthcoming today that I'm like, I literally crapped my pants, like my jaw dropped, like on the phone with her, like, oh my God, because she was willing to come on. And because I just always feel like it's better to let them, like, that's why I did the interviews with Jeff and Josh. It's always better to hear it from the person who's telling their side of the story. And she does, and I'm just going to be honest, she does have a lot to be proud of. She has a cute little family. They are very involved in the church. She has little ones. You know, I had to work around her cooking lunch today, her fixing dinner for the kiddos. So I commend her so much. So please do not, nobody, if you listen to this live, or you pick up on her Facebook page, do not harass this young lady. Do not message her and say anything unkind. If anything, message her and give her a huge, virtual hug and tell her that she's doing amazing, because she is. Adjusted Fate. He's saying his agent Handler, when he was an informant, was the first FBI on the Delphi scene. Okay, so this is going back to what True Crime Hunting Evil was talking about. So he was an informant, and his as an informant, his FBI agent that he worked for was the first on the Delphi scene. Is that what you guys are saying? We are guest. LOL. Um, my handler was My handler was watching a group that was using Ron's property. They left 24 hours before the girl's case. They came back up to continue to follow some names and issues, hence why they was there so fast. Okay, are you saying the FBI was watching Ron Logan's property prior to the girls being reported missing? And if that's what you're saying, are you able to elaborate why Ron Logan's property would be watched? Like, who, what was he involved? I mean, I know that he had shady comings and goings. But I always thought it kind of like boiled down to just women and a couple of younger, little wannabe drug dealers. But for the FBI to be watching someone's property, there had to be something more nefarious. If you're saying that they were watching Ron's property before the girls were reported missing. Hunting evil, what percentage of a particular age group will fall into meth addiction in those areas? That's a good question. They were already in town following up on intel and issues when the case popped off. They were already there and joined to help. Okay, so it's my understanding the FBI was there because of the doctor. Is that correct? For the gymnastics team, and then came into the Delphi case, because your other posts kind of stated that they were watching Ron's property 24 hours before, and maybe I'm just misreading that, because I really do not want to state or put out any false information, especially when it comes to Delphi. I feel like that case has been beaten to death, and I think that a lot of people who are covering the case just really need to give it just a calm, soothing rest for a minute and let the Supreme Court rule, um, and see what happens. It is far, far too gone for those families and those girls to all of this still on a on a daily basis be affecting their life in this fashion. They should have been looking forward to a trial. They should have been very near to the end of getting answers to all of these things about their children. It's and that's why I really don't want to cover the case in depth. Um, I personally am planning on covering the case on January 18th about the Supreme Court, that coverage and the ruling there, because I want to learn more about situations like that, especially in a situation like this where it's precedent. Like there's been nothing like this before um, in the state of Indiana, and I want to see what side of the fence that the judges fall on. That to me is very interesting. Travis, it's not just the users themselves. I've seen people go missing or killed. I've seen moms and dads and sons and daughters of users that owe and go missing or killed almost like they are, I'm assuming, I'm kind of ad-libbing here, almost like the pay up debt or else, pretty much. And those are your facts that you know, which that sounds pretty true. I mean, in most rural areas, um, Adjusted Fate asked Hunting Evil. He she said white supremacist question mark. Mama Libra Scales. Even living in Indiana, when I have been to Delphi, I have always been told to proceed in the area with caution. Really, it was a militia group. They were watching and they were watching and surveillance. Okay. In Hawaii, this is Travis. In Hawaii, where meth started, 80% plus in those communities of a high school class will become addicted. That's tragic if that's true. And I thought I had to worry about weed with my kids.
And that is tragic, 80%.
80% is tragic. Geronimo says, probably always a good idea to err on the side of caution when talking about criminals involved with meth. Yeah, you never know. That's like, you can only take um, conspiracy theory so far. But in this situation, like the people that I've been put in contact with, they all they all are very quick to say, yeah, I know them. I know why you're contacting me, but I'm not going to talk about it. And that is that's the most frustrating thing ever, because it's like I have all of these like links of a chain, but I can't connect them together without proof. So I can't really speak on it. And Momos, Libra Scales, when I went to Delphi, and I was there for a short time. I thought it was just a beautiful little cute town, and I'm a sucker for that. Like I like to go to small little places and eat at little, you know, there's a place that's like it's like 50 minutes from here, and it's called the Cherry Street Pub, and their food is freaking amazing, and they sit right in the heart of this little freaking town with all these little quaint shops, and I could spend an entire day there because it makes me feel like I don't live in the big city. And when I went to Delphi, and I drove through downtown Delphi. It was like, wow. Actually, like I was like, wow, I'm here at Delphi, and it's a really cute city, but it's literally like a huge four-corner stop with a big courthouse that sits in the middle. And then in any direction outside of that big ass square is nothing but country road. So, and then there's like all these turnoffs, all these like I drove over the Wabash River that drove through. I went to the Monon High Bridge. I went to the Abby and Libby Memorial Park and went all the way out to Monticello and 600 and Hodges Drive. And I can see why somebody would say, be careful. Because if you don't know any better, you think you're just sightseeing. And apparently there's a lot more going on there than just, the cute little shops. She said that right. That's common sense. Isabella says Delphi, even after the murders, is not that dangerous, that you need to be cautious, like you are saying. Okay. I thought it was a beautiful little city. I really did. And driving out to Ashley's grandma's house, like it was just beautiful. And actually, to be honest, driving out to Newton County was gorgeous. I mean, it was open wind, and you see all of those. I don't know what you call them. They're like the big white windmills, and there's hundreds of them along both sides of the roads, but they're not all spinning. There's like sections that spin for a while, and then they go to another section. And I videotaped it, like just driving. And I was telling Mike because he was checking on me as I was driving. I was like, you would love this drive. It is so pretty out here. And it was so sad to think I was on my way to a small little county where such a brutal thing happened to Nicole. Um, but Delphi was the same thing for me. It was a beautiful little place. And it's so sad that now it will forever be remembered because of this case and Abby and Libby. Not that it should ever be forgotten, but I'm sure that there's a million other great things about that little town that they would like to be known for. Hunting Evil True Crime says troubled community, as in users and their families and friends. I think that's probably anywhere you go, and small knit communities. You always find that there's a lot of connections between family and friends. Who was in the militia group on Ron Logan's property? We don't know when the girls were killed. The militia group. So Hunting Evil True Crime Investigates, I think that she's asking you that. If there was a militia group on Ron Logan's property. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to get caught back up. Okay, so here we are. Lisa. Mama Libra Scale says, I don't feel like there's a huge threat when I go out there to visit. I'm just saying I have been told to be careful by many. Travis says, hi, Kyra Dawn. What percentage of your grade became addicted to meth or other drug would you say? How do they support their habits on meth there? Functional addiction and work or crime? So, Kyra, if you're still here, that was a question for you um, about when you were in, like, people your age, when they became addicted to meth or another drug and how they supported it. Hunting Evil says, now when you get time across 110, take a look at one of the main veins, human and drug trafficking along that interstate. Look up how many missing and killed across many states near that interstate. Um, Hunting Evil, are you talking when you say 110? Sorry. Is that the road that I was on driving to Newton County? I don't remember. I had my GPS on, so I was just following the arrows. But is 110? And how are people, and if that's what you're talking about, how are people trafficked there? Like, how are they stopped? Because that's just like a 2-lane highway in one direction for miles. I mean, I think I was on it for like 2 hours. And it's so pretty. Hello, Travis. You following me? Question mark. Hope your day went well. CJK. I think they're saying thank you, Travis, for following me. Adjusted Fate says I wouldn't pigeonhole being observant to just meth users. Criminals come in all shapes and sizes. That they do. Here's Kyra. Kyra, I think she's back with us. Kyra, I'm not quite sure what the percentage is. Isabella says adjusted fate. She's answering you, likely heathen. That's Ivy Push. I think she's responding to Hunting Evil, who was talking about the militia group. Is that right, Ivy? That you were thinking that they were the heathen group of like the Odinists? Criminal network analysis. It's really off when you go intel that was sent to courts, prosecutors. I don't know what courts, prosecutors means. Shown the drug ring issues enough to point they press the issue. Kurtz broke. Okay, you're talking about they got the intel that was sent to Kurtz's prosecutor, shown the drug ring issues enough to point they pressed the issue. Kurtz broke. All right, Hunting Evil, come clean. Which prosecutor? What drug ring? Because that affects this case that I've been working on. So, and you don't even have to put it publicly on here if you don't want to. You can email me if you want, or you can message me on Facebook. Here, I'll put the ticker at the bottom. And I don't even know if my email's on there anymore. I'll put my email in the chat. So, and this goes for anybody that has information about this case when it comes to Ashley. You guys can email. I'm going to put the email in the chat. You guys can email me privately, anonymously. I will not give out your information. Clearly, because you see, I don't unless I've been given permission. I have looked at over 70 missing and killed cases. I hate at times MPD officers and other admit ties back to the drug ring and play. 19 of these cases are children. Dude, you got to tell. Oh, you're going to have to email me, buddy, so we can talk. Adjusted fate. Drugs will always be an issue due to the black market, underground economic benefits. Drugs literally keep our system funded. Isn't that the truth? The sad, pathetic truth. Kyra Dawn, would you be able to guess if maybe 1/4 of the kids end up with substance abuse issues or more or less? And I think Kyra, she's talking about in your generation, like your age group. And what's funny is that when you were doing all of this, you were dealing with a lot of people that were a lot older than you, which makes it even harder to pinpoint at what age this starts. Family members dealing and using owed debts, and it's proven Kokomo ring is cartel. When you owe the cartel, they don't go after one who owe the debt. They go for ones around them to force repayments. Hunting Evil. Who do you think, Hunting Evil? Who do you think are the true members of the Kokomo crew? Not just people from there, not just people that have been speculated. Like who? I mean, give me like 3 names that you believe or that you have proof that were considered a part of this Kokomo crew. I don't believe that Garrett Kurtz was one of them. Garrett Kurtz was a wannabe of a lot of things. I personally have not found any connection that substantially proves that he was part of any Kokomo crew, although he may have known people from Kokomo and he may have thrown that name out a little bit, but I don't believe that Garrett Kurtz was a part of a Kokomo crew. Travis, in the rural areas around me in Texas, it's about 15%. Most of those are in oil field jobs, construction, good money, long hours. Starts out good for a while, then a decline. Keep a job, you know. So Kiera Dawn says she thinks it would be about 25% is a good guesstimation. Travis says the story, very low number, stay sober because they jump back into same pattern people triggers. Yeah, that's why I think you have to commend the people who actually do get sober without moving out of the area in their comfort zone. Like staying in the same atmosphere, dealing with the same people. How can you ever break those habits when they're right in front of your face, under your nose every day? Ivy Rose says, Kira Dawn, thanks. So many people talk like everyone there is on drugs. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna tell you about a conversation that I had with Ashley while I was in Delphi, trying to find my way and just kind of driving to take it all in. And honestly, to get from A to B, you had to do some driving. So she knew I was on my way to her grandma's house, ma'am, and I was meeting with the family. We were going to have dinner, which we did, and sit down and go over her case, which we did. But in the meantime, I was there driving and taking in the sights, and she called me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm driving," and I just had to say to her, I said, "Ashley, what the fuck? What the absolute fuck?" I said, "How did you get wrapped up in meth in this beautiful place?" I said, "You should have been wrapped up in riding horses and breeding horses and having a garden." And she was like, and what did she said something to me, and I got it when she said it. But she was like, "I know, if I had it to do over again, I would do things so much differently." But basically she said there's a phrase, and I'm sure someone in chat knows it, and I don't remember it word for word, but basically she was saying boredom is the devil's playground. And that's what we all got sucked into. And it kind of hit me. I was like, if you're not an animal person and you're not a farmer, and I guess, and like in most places, you know, you covet things every day and those things get old. So I understand how seeing that life every single day, it could get old. But I know that being taken away from it, you would miss the hell out of it, which I know that she does. But that kind of put it in perspective for me. But still, I couldn't help but, um, you know, give her a piece of my mind because I was so like taken back by how pretty the area was in Delphi and the surrounding area.
This sounds a lot like where I live too. It's very rural, and I think we have the same problem, with meth around here. So
Yeah, I mean, it really is like, you know, like when Mike and I first were dating on the weekends, we would all we and we still do randomly. We'll like jump in the car and we have no destination and we'll just drive. And or we'll say, okay, we're going to go here and we're going to take the back roads. And God forbid I'm on my phone because he can't stand it. He's like, put the goddamn thing down and take in the scenery. And I'm like, okay, I've just seen like the same 50 fucking farmhouses in a row, but I do it to make him happy. But the scenery there, just driving, all I kept thinking in my head was, oh my God, I wish he was with me because he would love this because it is so pretty. It really is. Uh, and it's so sad about the Delphi case because, okay, I'm going to get off that because it just makes me upset. Um, because it's such a quaint little place and that now it has such a horrible, um, a horrible cloud over it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so Hunting Evil says, how do I get in contact with you? I have many in among around this ring stalking my personal Facebook page. And while doing so, it allows me to see some connections between ones in and around cases back to ring. I think I put I got to scroll down. Hunting Evil, I think I put my email in the chat. And if you didn't get it, it's actually on my YouTube channel description. It's case by case 10. Very easy. Case by case 10 at Gmail. You can email me. Well, being so, got to keep in mind these upper people get junked up, paranoid like Kurtz. They can kill if they think they will be exposed. Yeah, I agree. Kira Dawn says, I have Facebook, Kira Dowdy. So, guys, Kira has just posted her Facebook name for you guys to know who she is. So, if you reach out, please reach out with good intentions. Don't make her regret doing this, please. Hunting Evil says these are family members of victims afraid to speak up speak out against one in this ring. The killing and fear of going missing is real, even worse if they are in addiction fear. It's powerful. I agree with that. A lot of people that I have encountered, you wouldn't believe, like, people don't believe it. They're like, oh, bullshit. This is, like they're cut. No, I truly believe that a lot of the people that I've come in contact with in this case have information, but will not come off of it. Even, and I can, offer up my youngest child, as a promise, like, hey, you can have her. I won't say anything. They won't. They will not talk. Travis says, Kira, I hope you and yours have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you for your time. Absolutely. Thank you, Travis. God bless. Remember the reason for the season. Yes. And Kira, the best to you and your family and your little ones. And I see that your hubby I don't know what his past is, but it looks to me like he has definitely picked up on the good vibes, and the both of you are very um, dedicated to the church and spreading, you know, the word to the people that you are in contact with. So I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful new year coming up. What the heck? Hunting Evil, look up years back. No, the drug dealer in Maine got involved in the DOC correctional officer fired and jailed for the role in drugs, brought into prison. Look it up. Hunting Evil, are you talking about the officer that I was talking about that was involved with the guy named King, or is this someone different? Um, Hunting Evil says, no, I did a live with Gabriel Ellis. Oh, speaking of Gabe Ellis, I have an interesting story about him. No, I did a live with Gabe Ellis on his right hand men dealer wise before he died. Blaine Nelson. Okay, Blaine Nelson was a big part of the Criming Shame YouTube channel. Blaine Nelson is also one of the people who reached out to Ashley from Criming Shame in regards to the cryptic note. Watch it when you get a chance. He admits Keegan was sent by Gabe in that ring to pick up meth. Okay, I must have missed that. So you're saying that Keegan was involved with Gabriel Ellis? And I know that Blaine died of an overdose. That's true with all the tweaked family groups, whoever has a supply and the way it makes you feel. Not only that, when amateur porn could be monetized, they can support a habit on numerous platforms. That's different, but I bet they did. Hunting evil. Sorry if my tiny right more than half of the right thumb is missing, so text and me don't get along. Nub hates me at times. Okay, you're forgiven. Lisa says no apologies necessary. You are easy to understand. Yeah, he is bringing the knowledge tonight, isn't he? Mama Scales says Lucretia is as it sounds, and it is a song called "I'll Find You," a beautiful piece of music. Well, I'm going to have to find it. Is Gabriel Ellis in prison now? Yes, Gabriel Ellis is in prison, and he is in Jesus, it just left my mind. Pendleton. He is in the same prison that Garrett Kurtz is in. And I know that Andrew Baldwin and Rosie went to Pendleton to speak to Gabriel Ellis in regards to the Delphi murders. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And they also went there to speak to Garrett. But Garrett's never confirmed whether or not he spoke with them. But what I'm getting at, dealer right beside Gabe admits they sent Keegan with half of what he was going to earn to Vegas for a meth pickup, bring it back with money he was sent with earned for trip. So you're saying that when after the Delphi murders, when Keegan and his dad went to Vegas, that he was, I know a lot of people speculate that he went out there to run from being implicated in the Delphi murders. And then other people implicated him as going out there to do some sort of a weed transaction. You're saying that he went to Vegas to pick up meth and that he was paid as payment for the trip. I was talking about the song Hunting Evil was talking about. Yes, that Lucretia song. I want to hear it. Hunting Evil said, then yes, made big deal on weed, why he was there. Blaine Dunn admits it. It was for meth, not weed, on the live with me. He was right up there next to Gabe, dealer, supplier, wise, speaking the truth. Wow. Well, this is one portion of the story that I've missed. How you pronounce his name is Lecrae. He is a Christian artist, and his song, I'll Find You. Okay, so it's Lecrae. I'm going to write that down right now. Lecrae. I'm going to look that up. Adjusted fate. I don't understand why anyone would think that compound is some kind of hideout, as if Ellie doesn't know all about it. That's it, a hotbed crawling with dope heads. I agree. Other than the fact that I think it's referred to as the compound because it was a hideout. A couple of weeks ago, I did a live where I showed I showed Mark and Curtis and CJ and Jason's all of their case files. And when you go through every single charge that they've been arrested multiple times at the Hodges Drive location, but they never give that address as their residence. There's only 2 other addresses that all 4 of them use throughout the course of like 10 years. And the only one dating back as early as 2014 who gives that Hodges Drive address is Talitha. So listening to Jasmine repeat what she claims Talitha told her, how they had like this little underground place they went to hide from police, yada, yada, yada. That could have very well been the Hodges property, which is referred to the compound. And then I've actually talked to someone who, if you go back and you watch the video where I put all of that footage together and tried to show you, because I was trying to be inconspicuous, obviously. I wasn't trying to die out there because everybody kept saying, you can't go out there by yourself. And I'm like, well, I'm going. So when you turn onto Hodges Drive off of 600, coming in off of 600, you turn right onto Hodges Drive. And as soon as you turn right, right there on that corner is the Stout property. And you pull past it, and then that's the Paladino trailers that sit right behind it. So that's all on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side is another trailer. I have been in contact with the people who lived in that trailer. They lived there for many, many, many years, and they had a front porch window to the things that went on across the street at the Paladinos. And they said that the Paladinos, that whole strip on that road, they all were affiliated with each other, not by blood, not by relation, but they all had doings with each other, that they all looked out for each other. That's why that area was known to have cameras. That's why people who lived out around that area will never speak out, because they feel like if they repeat a situation that they witnessed firsthand, that somehow someone would know where that story was coming from. So that sucks. It's hard to get information. It's the name of a musical artist. Okay. Yes, he's a hip hop artist. If you listen to the song, I think you would like it. I probably will. I can't believe I've never heard of it, and everybody in here has. One's looking into trying to get justice for missing, telling you to listen to that song. Will do. Gonna look it up. Kyra is still listening. She must have got her babies to sleep. Let's see. Momo Libra Scales says, absolutely, it was already on my playlist before we met. I love that song. It's great for finding missing people for sure. CJK says, hey, Frank Meister. Is Frank still in here? He said hi, but he hasn't spoke up. Hunting Evil says, put a headphone in and listen to it for a little bit. It's a powerful song. I'm actually trying to do one rally cry for families 1, 2, 3, forever, and always looking for you. Yeah, headphones make all the difference in the world. Adjusted Fate. Investigating Evil says, yes, Michael Curtis, he's now retired. Who's Michael Curtis? Why does that name sound familiar? Yes, he is saying the handler was the first on the scene, exactly. Travis says, adjusted fate, well said about economics of drugs, criminal justice system, etc. Yep, exactly, because they are investigating a militia group. Okay, oh my gosh. Cherie, am I missing something?
I am not quite sure what's going on with that either. Was the militia group something to do with why the FBI was around when Delphi, or and
well, I think
discovered?
Yeah, I don't know. And Michael Curtis, was Michael Curtis an FBI agent, or was he an informant? Or was he an FBI agent posing as an informant or posing as a drug dealer? That's kind of what I'm getting from that. Pig roast. Stop it. Yes, pig roast. Right across the street from the Paladinos, where Jasmine Parker says that Talitha told her bodies were dumped. Coincidence the group used Logan's property at that time. Too many coincidences. There's a lot of coincidences in the Delphi case. Way too many. Way too many. Travis, thank you, sir. Adjusted Fate said. The doctor was out of Indianapolis for the gymnastics team. Yes. But isn't that why the FBI was in Indy to begin with? Was because of that? Where did the doctor live? FBI fucked up the case on doctor, had nothing to do with investigation, really. One law we need to change is the dealers and their drugs when overdoses happen can be charged with murder. Boone County used it, changed it to how it needs to be for the murder of their deputy. Look it up. He says, look it up. That means he's got proof, and I love that. It needs to be able to be used like Boone County did as a whole. Sad thing is, Indiana, look up how little the overdose murder law actually gets used. Travis says FBI had one simple task: refer follow up interviews to another FBI office. They screwed it up. FBI does have jurisdiction on any suspected kidnapping, but they typically only assist. Well, I wish the FBI would have gotten the footage from the Marathon gas station. That would have really helped. Delphi is a beautiful little town. The scenery is beautiful. I 150% agree, Momo. There is a great mom and pop butcher there that I buy meats from. Great deals and prices. Well, speaking of, and I can't even, and I feel so bad. I can't remember the name of it. But ma'am, Ashley's grandma took me to a place not far from her home that she bought Italian meat from, and it wasn't a deli, but it was a place. It looked like a place that you could rent out, like you would have like family reunions or events there, but you could also order buffet style food from there. So she had a couple of really big trays of Italian beef that was smoked that we picked up, and I actually got. She does like consignment things in that shop, along with some other things. And I actually got this eucalyptus body butter. It's like a lotion, and um, it smells wonderful. But it was a cute little place, and she had great food. And the only place that I didn't get to eat at, that I was told I needed to eat at while in downtown Delphi, was the sandwich shop. But I did take a picture of it. I just didn't get a chance to stop.
Next week.
Hunting Evil says, I am going to put this bluntly. FBI and Joint Terrorism Task Force knew intel and failed to act. See Florida shooting, same time was forced to admit just that publicly. Michael knew intel on suspects. Oh, you're speaking in tongue. You can get lost quickly. Yes, on the outskirts, Mama, you can. I'm guessing Uber and Starbucks are not big there. No, they weren't. They had a lot of cute little quaint shops though. But I did when I was leaving to drive home, I stopped at the took a picture of it too. I can't think of the name of it. At the pizza place that I was told, Ashley said they have the best pizza in the world. Ma'am said they have the best pizza in the world. So I stopped there and I ordered 2 large pizzas and literally put them in the back of my car. And I think I got like 5 miles out of Delphi and had to pull over and go up to the back of my car and get like 4 pieces because I couldn't take the smell anymore and I was so hungry and I had a 4-hour drive home. So
So she was right. It was
she was
best.
right. Yeah, and Breeze agreed. Breeze was my co-pilot that whole weekend, and of course, she had to get a piece of pizza. So yeah, we ate some pizza on the drive home. No Uber or Starbucks at all. 126 days before Delphi, their negligence, lies, and disregard Delphi and a few others after Karen's Kareness was preventable. 100% new intel failed to act yet again. Sad, really, Agent Curtis, if he acted. So I guess Curtis was an FBI agent. Hunting Evil, Michael who? He said Michael Curtis, and that he's retired now. Lisa says, wouldn't you rather take the red pill? I prefer to know what's going on. Yeah, we're talking about the Matrix. Evidently, they want to be known for that high bridge. Just look at how much money they've gotten into it, have gotten for it. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. They wanted that. You think Delphi wanted to be known for the high bridge, and they wanted to be known for that, in like in that way. Kayla says, "Fate. I think they think the trails will bring tourism." Momo Libra Scales, the board that handles the bridge was looking for money to revitalize the trail system, therefore, quite some time before it happened. Interesting. 110. Oh, Interstate 110. Oh boy, I'm going to have to go back through this chat and take notes. I think they earn substantially goals. Substantially. Trail creation and expansion, part of sustainability goals. Yep, along with grants. But guys, I mean, do you? I don't. I mean, I don't think that I don't think that any of that, them wanting to invest money in that trail system, had anything to do with Abby and Libby. But I'm not from there, so I don't know what the rumors amongst the locals are. But that trail system is beautiful. Me and Breeze did walk it. I was surprised at how I wasn't expecting it to be as long as it was, and I wasn't expecting it to be. Actually, let me rephrase that. I was expecting it to be very, very secluded, and it wasn't. I mean, I know that the Deer Creek runs down the right side. Like when you enter the trails and you start to walk, when the right side starts to open up and you can see the water, obviously there's nothing over there. But on the left-hand side, there are actually houses. I mean, it's not like they're not like right up against the trail, but it's not secluded. It doesn't, and it's not even secluded at the opening of the bridge where you walk out onto the bridge. Um, so it was a little bit different than what I expected, but it was very pretty. It was prettier in person, I will say that, than what I've seen throughout footage over the years of the coverage and the people who have gone out there who have, done recreations and whatnot. In person on that time of day when I was there it was the first weekend of November. It was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun was still up and it was very pretty. It was fall. The leaves had all changed colors. It was very pretty.
I wonder if it's any. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I wonder if is it more populated than it was in 2017, or don't you know?
I wouldn't assume that the houses that are along that trail system are new. They're older homes that are very well kept. And there are a lot of like out um I don't want to call them outhouses, but they're outhouses, like small barns, small storage sheds along that side of the trail. And I attempted when I after I walked out, I've never even posted any of that video and stuff that I got, and I should. Um, because it was, I was surprised. Like, and I even took video of how, like, you could have ran off the trail up to those houses. They're that close. They're a stone throw,
Wow.
I'll say that. And I didn't expect that. I thought it was more secluded than what it was. And right when you get to the opening of the trail, like right at the edge of the trail, or not the trailhead, but the bridge, I always thought, in all of the different recreations of what happened to Abby and Libby, I always wondered, especially since the probable cause came out, and you have the eyewitness who walked up to the start of the bridge and said that she saw Richard Allen, or an individual who we still don't know, because that's one of the things that the defense attorneys are arguing, is that who Liggett claims she said she saw is not the actual description that she gave. So, but anyway, the person that she saw on the first platform on the bridge, she said she turned around, and as she turned around about halfway back, she passed who she believed to be Abby and Libby. Well, if Abby and Libby got to the start of the bridge and they didn't see a male figure and they proceeded to cross, I actually, in my video that I take, as I'm like panning around, there is a weird little path. So if you're facing the bridge as if you're going to begin to cross, and it's right where they've put the new, it looks like a informational little plexiglass statue thing there, where they could put information behind plexiglass for you to read. There was nothing in the plexiglass, but it was still there. But so that's on your left hand side, and I pan around with my camera, and I see there's like this odd little worn down area of pathway that leads up into like a wooded area. And the first thing I thought when I seen it was, oh my God, this person that was on the first platform could have left the bridge and varied off into that wooded area and been hidden, whether it was intentionally or not, been hidden when the girls approached to walk across the bridge. And that's why they didn't see him. And then once on the bridge, he reinvented himself back onto the trail. That would have been the perfect hiding spot, in my opinion. Um, and I'll have to post that video. And
Yeah,
I'm
I was
sure that,
trying to say I'd like to see that. I'm sure many would.
yeah, it's definitely a worn out path. And if you walked up in there, and if you're two young girls who are walking and talking and chatting and on your phones, you wouldn't have looked in that direction and thought it was nefarious by any means. But someone could have walked up in there, and if they would have been within the brush enough and standing still, it is very, very likely that they would not have been seen. So it the whole thing is just bizarre. It really is bizarre. There you go, Hunting Evil. There's my email that I posted a long. That's how far behind on this chat I am. I'm so sorry, guys. But you all have taken the time to join, and I want to do my best to read each of your comments to make you a part of the conversation. Mama says, I appreciate the compliment. Hunting Evil says, the prosecutor over Kurt's case, when they were making excuses why they killed Nicole, when her aunt was talking to me, she felt like she was killed not for rolling on Ring, but because she knew something. And yeah, I feel like Nicole knew something too, but I'm not 100% sold that what Nicole knew was about Delphi. I think what Nicole knew was probably about Ray. And if you're talking about the prosecutor, that would have been Robert Guy. who insisted on not pressing charges against Garrett during Nicole's case, which was absolute BS. Ray's case was handled absolutely horrible. And I'm glad that Robert Guy's not the prosecutor there anymore. The government cracked down on opioids. It was what put heroin and crime on steroids. People used to have a script of pills and cash in their pockets. Take the script, take the morals / integrity. Integrity, they went crazy. And I'll have to say, that wasn't just in Indiana. Hunting Evil says was going to let it be known about the girl's case. They couldn't have that, and her own family feels like why she was really killed before she could even talk to family. Hunting Evil, I don't think, I could be wrong. I don't want to say that, because if you were in contact with them at that time, I'm sure you have pieces and parts of the story that I don't, but I think more related to what Nicole knew was Ray's case, because Ray was murdered 16 days prior to herself, and the threats and her feeling like she had a reason to be afraid started only after her and Garrett were arrested in Ray's car. But this is something that we can talk about, and we can add, maybe I have some missing people's pieces and you seem to have pieces. Maybe we can put them together. Remember when it came out, they said they feared she was going to roll on the drug ring Kurtz and others, so killed her before she could. Yes. The drug ring. And do you believe that drug ring was the Kokomo drug ring, or do you think that it was Paladino's? Because I believe the Paladinos were bringing in meth from Arizona, and they were also cooking meth out there by their grandparents' house, which was next to the bait shop that Kyra, that was just on here, talked about. There was a cookout spot there. So I'm just wondering, we need to talk. I don't like conspiracy theories or trying to speculate too far. Yes, her aunt's been online. Nicole reached out to her, needing a place to stay. The same day, I believe earlier in the same day that she was actually, the same day her life was taken. Gabe Ellis. Yes, Gabe Ellis. He's in Pendleton, where Garrett is. Oh, well, Garrett will be going back to after Ray's case. That list will extend all night. Yeah. Flint Farmer. Flint Farmer? Who's that? I have Gabriel Ellis, his underage girlfriend. I asked her family when Gabe and his group went and did Delphi, did she go with? Her response was, I don't think she was, then blocked me. Well, that's interesting, because there are, now just hear me out. And I'm not disregarding what you're saying at all, because I'm sure that happened. But there's someone that I talked to who is in communication with family members, distant family members, like cousins that no longer live in Delphi, that are related to the Paladinos, who, one, have stated that they have firsthand knowledge that the younger group of Paladinos were involved in one way or another in the Delphi murders. And then I've also been told that Jason Paladino delivered meth to Ray Hanish's apartment when Garrett was there. So all of this all of these things are just incredibly strange as far as their connections. Is he in prison currently? Lisa, who are you talking about? Gabe Ellis? If you're asking about Gabe Ellis, yes, Gabe Ellis is still in prison. He had 5 bodies at his feet, 3 females and 1 male overdosed by his drugs at his own place. 5th, he was the one who orchestrated Karina's death. Don't fall for what ring mother belongs to and others. Okay. I know what you're talking about now. Hunting Evil says, who want you to believe know every AKA witness they have currently on case dealt or major part of drug ring, just like the Flora lawsuit, every one of them, including Jennifer, who sits now for the murder. Jennifer who? And which Flora lawsuit are you talking about? Because I think there's been a couple. And for those of you who are new to this, he's talking about the Flora fires that people believe are related to Delphi, where the Flora little girls lost their life in the house fire. A lot of addictions are rooted in desperation or in depression. I agree. Hunting Evil says, if you, my case, and docs pop, however you spell it, every name you will see the drug charges and nothing to see here. Oh, I agree with that. I'm on those sites all the time. I have heard it said idle hands are the devil's playground. Same difference. Yeah. Toby Garth says idle hands is the devil's workshop. Now, okay, there it's out of the mouth of babes. Toby, it's Ashley's dad. That's what she told me. I thought she was, and it's the same thing. I knew she was talking about boredom as the devil's playground when I said, girl, how did you not just fall in love with your surroundings? It's so pretty here. Hunting Evil says, I feel one's already spending many years are faced with more time or speak up. They will break like Kurtz did already. The problem with Kurtz is Kurtz could be speaking the truth on one day, but the fact that he's told so many lies and retracted those, like you can't believe anything that comes out of his mouth. Yes, Hunting Evil, that's Toby Garth. That's Ashley's dad. He's on here. He's on almost every live that we do. He's just quiet. Yes, it's Ashley's dad. Now I want you to look back. Derek's ammonia charge. Did you know a long time ago, family friends, dad, Toby was actually the manager at the co-op they stole it from. Makes you wonder, kickback, look the other way, money. I don't know what that's about. If you're talking about Derek German, I think that's what you're talking about is Derek German. And I know about a break-in at the co-op, but that I don't know the details, so I won't even speak on it, to be honest. You can get off meth without rehab, etc. It's quitting the life and the people is the biggest hurdle. Quitting opiates, alcohol, cigarettes is a different story. Hey, Exotic Prairie. I haven't seen you in here for a minute. Hunting Evil. Sorry for bringing that up, but he was for a fact sitting as a manager where they stole it. And like 2 months later, Gabe Ellis was arrested for manufacturing 40 feet from the very tanks. I have no idea what that's about. Toby, Travis says that's the truth. Adjusted Fate, Exotic Prairie, amen. Okay, guys, I'm just letting you know it's 10:30, so I'm going to start wrapping it up here simply because I have another job that I have to be at it. I have to get up for at 3:30 in the morning. Yes, Blaine actually puts that out there and spoke in detail about it. Gabe was a older child predator. See, his dismissed charges made him Howard County's most wanted. Where do you think Keegan learned? I didn't really know that Keegan knew them like that. Thank you for answering. Indiana State Prison, DOC number 164411. I'm going to have to write that down too. Whose DOC number is that? Huh? Sorry, I just wrote that number down. I'll have to look that up. They need to do a touch DNA on Libby's shoes. See the nose and the cheek, fresh less than 24 hours, black eye and trauma. Looks like he was kicked. Only Abby's small shoe fits mugshot. Take a look. Oh my goodness, these are a lot of details. I don't have the crime scene photos. I have no idea about the details about that. Toby says, Hunting Evil, I never had any interaction with Derek German and have never been a manager of a co-op. Oh, so Hunting Evil, that was addressed to Toby Garth? Oh. What did they say changed appearance drastically, plus the admission his underage grandfather, fam, done let out asked, did she go with him when they went to do Delphi? I don't think she was. I'll send that to email. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to scroll on down here, guys. Toby says, I have worked for a long time in agriculture. I have never been in association with Derek German. Yeah, I don't even think the Patties have ever confirmed to me that Derek or the Patties themselves even knew Ashley or the Garths. Simple and Even says it on your own Facebook. Worked for Corp Productions. Simple and Even says it on your own Facebook. Worked for Crop Productions. Michael Curtis was an FBI agent. Hunting Evil says Anna Williams, longtime friend. And when I talked to her, she recently had just done work for Ashley's grandma. Yes, Anna Williams is a very good longtime friend of the Garths. I did have the opportunity to meet her at the Garths when I was there with the family. She is a sweetheart and she likes her privacy. She does not do social media. She prefers to watch in silence. So I'm not going to discuss Anna on my channel at all, out of respect for her and what she's been through, the same as I would do for anybody. Like I try to convey my condolences to Nicole's family. These circumstances are different because I believe Ashley is innocent. Ashley's not innocent of all things bad. Ashley had her demons. Ashley was addicted at one point to drugs, but Ashley was not a murderer. And I do not believe Ashley premeditated, conspired to, or participated in Nicole losing her life. That's why I'm here. And that to me also helps the families of a victim, even though that they have been led to believe one thing. And I understand wholeheartedly how that becomes embedded and they feel that justice has been done. And by me doing what I'm doing, I feel that they feel like I'm ripping justice away from them. That's not my intention at all. And if Ashley is guilty, she will, it'll end that way. But the fact of the matter is that Ashley still has her rights. We still have rights to her post-conviction relief. And I feel that when the real evidence is presented and it is proven that her trial and the truth in her defense was not presented, I feel that the outcome is going to be much different. And I feel that if it had been done right from the very beginning, she wouldn't be where she's at. That's why I'm here. So, but as far as Anna Williams goes, wonderful lady, horrible situation. The same with the Patties, but I would prefer not to bring them into any of this. Hunting Evil, let's schedule. How about we do this? You email me and I'll come, you can come on and we'll do a live together when it's not so late. It's 11:15 and I've been on here since 7, but I am so interested in what you have to say and we can share information. Just email me and we'll go from there and we can communicate tomorrow. And we can schedule a live as soon as Saturday night. That way we both have time to prepare. If that works for you. Hunting Evil says, can you send link? May I come on, ma'am? Oh, not tonight, Hunting Evil, just because it's so late. And I know that if you come on, we're going to talk for hours and that's what I'm going to want to do. And I got to go to work. That's the only reason. Mama Libra Scale says, I don't think that was connected to the murder. Trail revitalization, that just that they were looking to fund it for quite some time. I agree. Okay, hang on. In Toby Agricultural Crop Productions, 850 Prince William Road. Now, shall I list the years it says on your public work history? I don't know where Mr. Garth works. I know that he works in agriculture, but I don't know the details behind that. So Toby could answer that. And then Hunting Evil, if you want to communicate with me, I can also go back to Toby and discuss with him, and maybe the three of us can get together to dissolve whatever issue that I'm not sure where this is going, but we'll figure it out. It is a shock when you go in person and see it. Are you talking about the trails? Yes, it was for me. And it wasn't a shock in a bad way. It was really, I actually, the little memorial place they have on the trails for Abby and Libby, where they have the basket and they have like the laminated pictures of the girls. I still have that in my car and it's on my console. So I just keep that there just because for so long I've covered this. So Toby Garth says, I work in Buck Creek and he's worked there for 18 years. Mama, what does his own Facebook and then simple search his name, public records list, ma'am. Just sent you. Okay. Hunting Evil, can you email that to Case if able? Yeah. You guys email me whatever you want me to have, and we'll go from there. Adjusted fate, no eyewitness claims by name to CRA, and each eyewitness statement contradicts the next. Yes, based on the memorandum, it does. That's why I'm eager for this Indiana Supreme Court hearing and to see what's done in the matter. I feel that I would like to see Rick Allen have a good defense team who's fighting for him. And if they lose because he's guilty, so be it. He's guilty. He has a lot of explaining to do in regards to him even putting himself on the trail that day. That alone is a good enough reason for me to look into him. But I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to cover the Delphi case on here because I feel, like I said before, I feel like it's been covered enough, and I just want to see the case move forward. So guys, it is 10 till 11. I think I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. It's been a good live. Thank you, everybody. All the new people that joined and attended Hunting Evil. I'm looking forward to communicating with you. Everybody who wants to email me, my email's in the chat. Please email me, and I'll do my best to, research with you and get the answers. So we'll go from there. Cherie, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Guys, on your way out, please like and subscribe. We do have a Facebook for Ashley. It's the Ashley Garth Case Discussion Group. Please request to join. We do a lot of communication in there. Mamal, okay, gotcha. True Grit Crime. So I look forward to probably seeing you on Saturday night. But thanks again to Kyra for coming on tonight. That was awesome. And I will see you guys later. Good night, everybody.